Why? Well, I'm not getting all my messages. Well, how's that? I haven't updated the app. His app still says Twitter. How long ago was that?
He's still got the bird logo.
He's refusing to update to X.
I just imagine Elon Musk sitting somewhere on a pile of $1 million, just scratching his head, wondering how he hasn't been able to convince the Dandelion in Rochester to convert to X.
He's probably thinking, should I just eliminate him altogether from my platform?
I'm just going to eliminate him altogether. I just have visuals of billionaires who just snap their fingers like Thanos, and then people just disappear into ether because they're aliens, and we can't relate to Taylor Swift, Elon Musk. They just snap their finger, and boom, the Dandelion is dust.
You said that yesterday, too, on Thanos. Like, there's a whole segment that I'm just like, that I don't get that reference, so...
Well, I think a lot of people would.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you've heard of the Avengers, right? Those movies were like the highest grossing movies of all time. You maybe didn't see them. You didn't see them personally.
So it's a
but
character
they are
in
the highest grossing. It's like the highest grossing franchise of all time in movies, as far as movies go. I'd say it's pretty mass appeal, even if you're a little bit of a nerd like me. Nerd! Not your thing.
No, not
totally
my
fine.
Thing. I'm sure I'm not the only one that didn't.
Avatar's not really my thing, and everybody
blue people walking around. No,
everybody seems to have watched that movie too. I don't get it, but to each their own. But Thanos is a comic book character who takes over the universe, and he has the power to snap his fingers and make half of the population disappear. And so when I think of the kind of power that gets wielded by billionaires, that's the visual that just kind of automatically defaults to the visual that defaults in my brain. I think, okay, if you're Elon Musk and you see this guy in Rochester who sits in here for 3 hours every day, snap his finger, and you're either going to comply or you're gone, pal. I'm just going to snap my fingers and half the population is gone.
I appreciate the cliff notes here. I didn't get it.
You don't have, and if I'm spoiling it for you, if you never watched and you're pissed off that I just spoiled it for you, listen, it's been how many years? Get it together. If you're interested in it, go watch it. There's got to be a statute of limitations on spoilers and when we can actually spoil things for people. Yeah, he's a bad guy. And the Dandelion will not comply.
It's spoiler alert, like The Sixth Sense. Yeah, he was dead all along. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that.
Oh, Gene, terrible. We appreciate you joining us this afternoon. We're off. All
right, there we go.
I've got what I need.
You got a new
keyboard because the O button was jammed into the keyboard, like violently pushed into the casing of the keyboard. Now we're good. We're set, and I'm ready to set the table. We've got a great show lined up for you. We appreciate you listening at 95.7 FM, AM 950. We sound our best in the free-to-download Odyssey app. You can get us on your smart device when you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan, and our video stream is up and running for you now as well. You can watch us at The Fan Rochester on YouTube and Twitch later this afternoon, right around 4:25. Our buddy Armando Salguero from Outkick joins me. He's the real Mr. 305. Joins us at 4:25.
The original Armando. We love Armando, and certainly he covers the NFL at large, but what's the story right now in the NFL? It's a team that put up 70. So Armando, who cut his teeth with the Miami Herald, now covering the sport nationally, and this is the game of the week, Buffalo and Miami. We'll get his thoughts on this and what happens in this game. We'll ask him about some other things going around the league too. I'd be curious to get Armando's thoughts, and I'm sure we'll be talking a little bit about the Jets here. How much of this is New York media generated? Is there really some friction in that locker room? Could the Jets actually be looking at other quarterbacks to bring in? They should. We'll talk to Armando in the 4 o'clock hour.
And here's what's on tap in the sports bar, brought to you by Three Heads Brewing, Rocktoberfest Lager, malty, sweet, and such a treat. It's great for this time of year. Get it before it's gone. Later this hour, PJ Glasser, the host of BetQL's Send It In, stops by. We'll get some winners from PJ as we look ahead to week 4 of the NFL.
PJ's money last week, it was an ugly backdoor cover, but Army covered for those. We couldn't bet on it, but I had to laugh on that one. He's like, no, always take the points in the Service Academy. So PJ was dead on that. So we'll get his thoughts. He is going to pick the Bills and Dolphins from a betting perspective. Right now, last look, that was Buffalo minus the 3. So looking forward to PJ coming up.
He is the host of Send It In on the BetQL Network and Odyssey Sports Betting Insider. PJ Glasser joining us at 3:25. Insider calls are presented by BetMGM. Go check out all of the latest lines today on the BetMGM app. You can join us by calling 866-4FAN. Our phone number 585-866-4326. We've got a round of shots coming up during happy hour after 5 o'clock. We'll get to some news and notes from around the NFL. A Buffalo Bill gets recognition.
Well, we got breaking news here, too.
And breaking news in the sports bar.
Ow! 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 It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
Dame Time just got traded. Not to Miami.
Yep.
Not to Toronto.
Yep.
To another team in the East. Anybody want to guess? Damian Lillard is heading to the Milwaukee Bucks. 3-team deal. Phoenix also involved in this. So Portland's getting Drew Holiday. They're getting DeAndre Ayton. Tumani Kamara, Milwaukee's 2029 first-round pick. It's unprotected.
Ayton's going to Portland, you said?
Correct.
Got it.
And unprotected pick swaps in 28 and 2030. So that's
The NBA.
Yeah, the NBA is like Milwaukee.
2030. It's 7 years away. It's unbelievable. I'm sorry. Go
Why
on.
not? Well, the PGA Championship is booked out to what? 2050.
This is insane. Like when the 2030 draft rolls around for the NBA, we're going to be talking about that epic deal that sent Dame Lillard to Milwaukee. It's insane.
So the Suns get parts in this deal. They just wanted to dump Ayton, apparently. One of them being, and this is the second time he's come up in the show this week, former Duke player Grayson Allen.
He's a rat. So he's now Allen's in Phoenix.
He's in Phoenix.
Okay. Hey, good, I guess. I'm still left with this sour taste in my mouth with the way the Bucks season ended. I'm sure they feel the same way, which is what provokes a deal like this. Is Dame and Giannis, are they compatible? Are they going to be I'm out on Giannis. I'll say it. I know he's a star.
But you weren't moved by his speech last year that this is just a journey?
I'm out on Giannis. I'm out on Giannis. That the season isn't a failure. That the season isn't a failure speech was enough for me to be out on Giannis. He's a great player. Doesn't have the killer instinct. Don't necessarily think he makes others around him better. And now I wonder what he and Dame will be like. I mean, look, they're both obviously extremely talented, and it'll be interesting to watch. But I'm not really excited about it for either of those guys.
No, this is it. I think this is Milwaukee ownership recognizing this is it. Do we really think Antetokounmpo is going to be retiring a Buck, or is he eventually going to end up in Los Angeles like many of them do?
Sure.
So he's got 2 years left before a player option in 2026. So 25-26, I'm trying to say, which means, all right, we've got to do something right now. So this is how the game works in the NBA. All right, we're going to give up any hope in the year 28, 29, and 2030. Let's try to win while we have this superstar player. And that was a disaster, them losing to Miami in the first round last year. I don't care what anybody says. I know Jimmy Butler's great, but you cannot lose as a number 1 seed in the NBA. What did you work all season for? Dame Time brings a different element here. There's somebody that is one of the tops at that position, and he's never won anything. So I'm fascinated. I would have to think they had to let these two guys talk this through. Like, this wasn't done. Like, Dame was digging in like it's Miami or nowhere.
If that's true, is he happy about the idea of playing in Milwaukee? I mean, let's face it, a lot of these players want to play in Miami for multiple reasons. Because 1, it's Miami. 2, it's Pat Riley. 3, it's Florida.
Okay, and in sidebar with Florida, your dollar goes further with the
Correct.
state taxes. I don't know exactly what the tax ramifications of going to Wisconsin are, but I would think Florida would have to be better.
Yeah, I think so as well. Well, that'll be interesting to see with this upcoming season. And we talked about it briefly yesterday during shots that Dame would probably be dealt before the start of training camp for the Blazers, and here we are talking about a Damian Lillard trade as he gets dealt to the Milwaukee Bucks as part of a 3-team deal. Yeah, I'm out on Giannis. Give me more Jokic, less Giannis. That's where I'm at. I love the players who are all business, make others around them better, and have that killer instinct. And that's what we saw out of Jokic last year. And with Giannis, I feel like we saw excuses. And he got his title, and nobody can take that away from him. But the way last season ended, I need to see more again from Giannis. I'm not convinced that he's not soft, mentally and physically. This move, let's see what it does. For anybody that wants to say that the season wasn't a failure, then explain to me how you, a 1 seed, lose to an 8 seed, and then as a result have your head coach who won you that title lose his job. Season was a failure. Let's just call it for what it is. It's fine. You can use that failure, propel it to greater heights in the future, but don't come at me with it's not a failure. No, it was a failure. You can grow from that failure, but your season was a failure.
Well, and the thing that drove me nuts about that, too, how many people on social, this is what we should be showing our kids. Okay, this is professional sports. They're getting paid. You don't, fine, you talk in a different way to your 10-year-old.
He's speaking the language of losers. He's speaking the language of losers. You lost. Own it. Was it a failure? Yes. Yes. It doesn't mean that I'm done. I'll be back. We'll be better. But was the season a failure? Yeah, it was a failure. We failed. I would have loved to have heard that. And I think that's, Jokic, for as goofy as he was at the end and not wanting to be there for the parade and all that stuff, I just think that guy is all business. And he makes those around him better. He always seems to make the right decision with the ball in his hand. I'm in on players like that, players that make others around them better, and I'm out on the selfish players. I'm out on the players that, have excuses.
Or like the Giannis clip in Philadelphia where, the guy's up on the ladder fixing the net and, knocking it. Something's off with that guy. And I just get the impression that Milwaukee ownership knows this is it. So let's go all in.
Before he leaves.
Giving up Holiday, I think he's a glue guy. That's something, and I understand why Portland got him, because Portland's not going anywhere, but any team would love to have a Drew Holiday, so I would expect him to get moved before the end of the season.
Would be excited to talk about this would probably be Bart Winkler. Like if Bart, I wonder what Bart's original, what his take on all of this is as a Milwaukee guy and somebody who's been a part of that.
I feel bad because Bart, first of all, I think Bart is a friend of the show, and now he's on CBS Sports Radio on Saturdays, which is great because you hear him with his takes on the NFL and college football, and it's just kind of even-keeled. Bart is a different pace. I think he's great.
He's no nonsense.
I always interrupt him with Fisher football. I could just picture okay, here we are. Well,
that's funny.
Sorry, Bart.
I don't know if they made this announcement. Speaking of talent on the CBS Sports Radio Network, I don't know, Gene, we haven't even talked about this. We're getting a new morning show on the Fan Rochester.
Oh, you're telling? How did I miss this? What?
It's out there. DA is moving on. He has a new opportunity. And I imagine that with DA and his life and everything that's happening in his world right now, he probably jumped at the opportunity. I imagine it was more money. But the new morning show, and I don't have an effective date on this, Maggie and Perloff will be moving to morning. So who are Maggie and Perloff? Maggie and Perloff are who you would hear on CBS Sports Radio if Danger and Battaglia didn't exist on the Fan Rochester. If Thanos wiped us out, you would have Maggie and Perloff every afternoon. And Perloff is famously McLovin. You remember
right?
Yep.
So I can't, because we're on the same time. I don't know how Maggie. I guess we'll kind of listen together.
Perloff is all I know about. Perloff is a smart dude. Maggie, Bill's Mafia. That's good news.
Okay, we got to get her on the show.
Yeah, Maggie, Bill's Mafia. Perloff, smart dude. Used to write for SI. So maybe still writes for SI. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, Maggie and Perloff. I don't have a start date on that, but that is happening. So if you want to wish our friend DA well on his new endeavors, feel free to do so. I know a lot of people have already. It's kind of bittersweet, but I'm sure for where he's at right now, his stage of life, it was probably an opportunity he just couldn't pass up.
Yeah. But we're still going to have to get him on the show, especially when Syracuse messes up or Boeheim says something. Or
Is Boeheim going to say something? Oh, Boeheim will say something.
Boeheim
will say something.
Oh, by the way, the Syracuse schedule's out, Danger. So you have that.
Do we have any highlights? Anything there that?
We already knew the non-conference because they kind of put that piecemeal out. But now that the conference schedule's out, and it is what it is. You look at it and I'm like, all right. Yeah, you know what they're going to be? They're going to be 16 and 14 again, right on the bubble. And and they'll be NIT bound or not.
Bills back to practice today as they get ready for the Dolphins on Sunday.
Yeah, and their injury report just came out, and there are 6 guys on it. So, and all of them not Veterans Day. So, Ryan Bates and Leonard Floyd not practicing with ankle injuries. Also, Saran Neal not practicing with an ankle injury. Micah Hyde has that hamstring. He did not practice today. Jordan Poyer, the other safety, he's got a knee issue, did not practice. And Taron Johnson, he was limited. So, let's review. There's 4 players in the secondary right now. Poyer, Hyde, Johnson, Neal. 3 of the 4 not practicing altogether. Taron Johnson limited.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that here through the course of the week, and especially on Friday as we get closer to game day, and see how everybody is trending for kickoff come Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. You'll be able to hear the action on the Fan Rochester, starting with our pregame coverage at 9 a.m. And with practice, with the injury report, we should also make mention that today, Bills linebacker Terrell Bernard was named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. We kind of said that on Monday, right? Like, we looked at that stat line and we're like, that's impressive. He's going to be the Defensive Player of the Week.
The only other player I thought maybe they could have gone with, Myles Garrett had 3.5 sacks, and that was a very sound Cleveland performance. But what Bernard did to be the first guy since 07, since Urlacher in 07 to put up that stat line. And it wasn't just garbage time takeaways. That interception in the beginning, that was big. They were all timely. So Bernard playing in the Sean McDermott defense here. Very exciting. I cannot wait to talk to PJ Glasser and get his thoughts. Maybe I swayed him because when I went on his show yesterday, Danger, talking about this Miami offense that's rolling through. I'm like, yeah, things have changed here defensively. Sean McDermott putting his fingerprint. And no, Terrell Bernard is not Luke Kuechly, mind you. But that's what Sean McDermott wants. He wants fast linebackers. So where the Dolphins have
fast
speed,
and smart.
Correct.
Yeah. And Bernard, I think, checks those boxes. I mean, whenever we talk to a Bills insider, and Matt Perino yesterday mentioned, and look, McDermott knew before he drafted Bernard. He talked to coach at Baylor and learned, like, Bernard is intelligent. He's a smart player. And you could see his instincts on the field. Like, he is instinctually, to our eyes, better than what they had in Tremaine Edmunds. Of course, Edmunds physically more imposing, physically more dominating, but Bernard has the instincts, the smarts. And today, the AFC Defensive Player of the Week award for 7 total tackles, 2 for a loss, a couple of sacks, a pick, a fumble return, and a pass defended. Pretty impressive stat line for Bills linebacker Terrell Bernard. All right, PJ Glasser, you mentioned him, Gino. He is the host of BetQL's Send It In. We'll get some winners from PJ next here in the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia on the Fan, Rochester.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite.
Sports Update.
Linebacker Terrell Bernard is the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. This for his efforts in the win over Washington. Now it's Miami week. Head coach Sean McDermott says holding onto the ball is going to be key.
Right, yeah, I mean, when you're playing a team like an explosive team, a team that scores like this offense does, and you have to play a complementary game. And so all three phases have to blend together and work together. So it's certainly going to take all of us to get it done.
PJ Glasser, host of Send It In, will join us next here in the Sports Bar. Big trade in the NBA. Damian Lillard heading to Milwaukee. It's a 3-team deal involving Phoenix, Portland getting Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, some draft picks, the Suns getting 4 players in the deal. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Pull up a stool and join us. 585-866-4FAN. 866-4326. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Yeah, very good. I mean, they're all as advertised. I mean, they're explosive. Anybody that touches the ball can score, whether it's what you think is going to be a 2-yard run turns into a crease and a gasher. Same thing with the passing game. So Coach McDown does a great job of just moving guys around, creating different styles of offense. It's a handful.
All right, we're joined now by the host of Send It In, Odyssey Sports Betting Insider, PJ Glasser. Insider Calls presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app. Bills head coach Sean McDermott right there talking about the Miami Dolphins and that Miami offense. We'll talk Bills Dolphins and which way PJ is leaning for Sunday's game. PJ, before we get started here, I've been trying to keep tabs on Major League Baseball as the regular season winds down, and I know that there's a disappointing team out there in San Diego. Have a lot of really, really talented players. One that you might be familiar with, but his name escapes me right now. He used to play for the Orioles back in the day, so I know you're familiar with his work. But since joining San Diego, they just haven't been able.
Third baseman? Are you talking about that guy? I can't. Who is that?
Why is it escaping me? I can't for the life of me remember. PJ, do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, guys, the name escapes me. I think it's Manny Machado. We got Machado, we got Soto, and we got Fernando Tatis. I feel like that should be Baltimore's team, quite frankly.
Well, what town do they play in, too?
They play in San Diego.
It's an all-timer. That's an all-timer. All right, PJ, thanks. Good talking to you. Talk to you next week.
Yeah. Sounds good.
First of all, thanks for having Gino on Send It In yesterday. And I know we're going to talk Bills and Dolphins here in a little bit. Let's get into some of this action here for Saturday in college football. And you've been lights out with college football. So
how about that backdoor cover for Army? Now, we couldn't bet it, but I thought of you like, right, there it is. Like everybody could take a deep breath there, PJ. Good on that. Always take the points in the Service Academy.
Guys, we had the right idea with that game, right? Like Syracuse came out sluggish. Army went on like a 10-minute drive to open the game. They were up 3 at halftime. And then Syracuse kind of started playing. They got up, but like you said, we got the backdoor cover. And then the Cuse have a big game this week, guys, against Clemson, which I'm sure everybody in your area is looking forward to.
Well, we can't bet it, but tell us which way you're leaning on that one. Give us your breakdown of Clemson, Syracuse.
So last week, guys, we faded Syracuse, but this week I actually like them quite a bit. And, shop around a little bit, make sure you can get Syracuse at the +7 at the key number. They're one of the most underrated offenses in the country. They have one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the country in Garrett Schrader. ACC's got a lot of talented QBs, as we know. Jordan Travis, Riley Leonard at Duke, Tyler Van Dyke at Miami, obviously Drake May at UNC. But Schrader's really good, and he's a really good dual-threat quarterback. And, if you're Clemson, guys, you get recruited to go play to Clemson to win ACC championships, win national championships. We're heading into week 5, and their season's pretty much already over. They've suffered 2 losses in the conference. They're not making the playoff, and this has happened for 3 straight years. So guys, upperclassmen that are in that program that like had aspirations of going deep this season, and now it's week 5, like what's their kind of psyche? What's the locker room vibe like heading into this week? And for Syracuse, we know it's all systems go. They're undefeated. They got Clemson at the Carrier Dome this week. I like Syracuse, fellas. I like them +7. I think there's a chance they could win that game outright.
Yeah, it's been a while since the Orange have had this kind of platform as they will on noon on Saturday. Another game we're all going to be paying attention. This is what's great about the SEC. Like Ole Miss, they get done with their battle against Alabama. Now they're back home against LSU. Two ranked teams here. The over-under on this one, 67. Your thoughts on this game is it's actually LSU going on the road and giving 2.5.
Yeah, high total, Gene, this week, 67. I like the under, but I really like LSU -2.5. It feels like every week in college football, we kind of get aligned. It was like Florida State Clemson last week where FSU is only 2.5-point favorites, and you're looking at that one, and you're like, why is the spread that small? This week's kind of like that game where, it might not be pretty for most of it. Maybe Ole Miss is winning in the second quarter, early parts of the third quarter, but I just think LSU finds a way. I think Ole Miss is very overrated. I don't think Jackson Dart is very good. Their defense, I don't think, is all that great either. And LSU, guys, I think people just kind of wrote them off after week 1 against Florida State, didn't think they were going to be any good. I think they're the best team in the SEC. I think all the other teams in that conference have kind of showed us that they are certainly gettable. I know LSU struggled a little bit with Arkansas last week, but I like them to bounce back. I think Jaden Daniels has a big game this week, and I like LSU. Anything under the 3, I would take the Tigers.
I can't remember if it was you specifically or Beck Hewell specifically that hammered the Bama Ole Miss under for last week. We have Bama again here against Mississippi State, PJ. You've got your finger on the pulse of what's going on with the Tide. Tell us about what you like in this matchup.
Danger, we're going right back to the under at 47.5. I don't think the books are adjusting enough. Obviously Bama had this stretch of pro quarterbacks, whether it was Bryce or it was Mac Jones or it was Hurts or it was Tua. And now obviously the quarterbacks that they're throwing out there each week just aren't getting it done. The O-line's not very good. They don't have weapons on the outside. The play caller, Tommy Rees, who came over from Notre Dame, been very unimpressed with him. And then on the flip side, guys, like we all knew it was going to be a tough season for Mississippi State, and you obviously have to feel for them with Mike Leach and everything that happened. But like the kids that were recruited to go play for them, it was all because of the air raid offense. Like that's what they were recruited for, and they completely changed their offense with Zach Arnett taking over, and it's just been a struggle for them on both sides of the ball, but especially on offense. And as porous as Bama's offense has been, the defense has actually been pretty good, and I think they're going to be good again this week against Mississippi State. I think Bama's offense is also going to struggle. So, guys, until further notice, keep taking Bama unders. I like it again this week, 47.5.
Yeah, PJ, before we go over to the pros, and certainly we want to get your thoughts on Buffalo and Miami, any other college games that you like this week or you want to avoid? You've got Notre Dame Duke, where the Irish going on the road. They're giving up 5.5. You've got Colorado, again, another big underdog. Do the Buffaloes at home end up covering this point spread, or maybe even better in the over-under? That's 74. Ridiculous. Thoughts on maybe anything else that we haven't asked you about?
Yeah, the Notre Dame Duke game, guys, that's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, Notre Dame, how do they kind of bounce back after that loss against Ohio State, as heartbreaking as it gets? Duke's for real. I mean, Mike Elko's a really, really good coach, and Riley Leonard's a very good quarterback. College game day is going to be there for the first time ever. That's a tricky spot for Notre Dame. I do think Duke might have some issues hanging with the Irish in the trenches, but I think that's going to be a fun game. I do like that over, though, in the Colorado-USC game. I think much like last week against Oregon, Buffaloes are just going to have no answer for the opposition. USC is going to be able to do what they want offensively. But unlike Oregon, guys, I think Colorado is going to be able to score some points on USC as well. Lincoln Riley, he still cannot figure out the defensive side of the ball. The offenses, year after year, whether it's Oklahoma, USC, they're fantastic. Defense, still not impressed with it. So it's a high total for Colorado USC, guys, but I do like the over in that game.
All right, PJ, let's shift gears. Week 4 in the NFL. We've been talking a lot of Bills and Dolphins. You spoke with Gene about it on your show yesterday. Which direction are you leaning here for Sunday in Orchard Park?
Yeah, it was great having Gene on. You know, it's going to be such a good game. What's so interesting about it, guys, is that we have a team that just dropped 70 points in an NFL game, and they're underdogs this week, right? So it's going to be hard for people not to take the plus money with the Miami Dolphins. With that being said, I still think the Bills are the best team in that division, and you guys know they always struggle against the Jets. Allen always struggles against that defense. He's looked a lot better the past 2 weeks, but I think the difference for the Bills, guys, is they've found something with the running game, and with James Cook in particular. I really am interested to see what the game plan from Ken Dorsey and McDermott are this week. Like, do you really try to run the ball, and do you have so much respect for Miami's offense that you almost play a game control type game, which obviously for the Bills is pretty surprising. I think that might be their game plan. Even though the defense has been awesome the first 3 weeks, we all know they're playing a different animal this week. So it's going to be a contrarian play, but I kind of think the under might be worth a look at 53.5. That's a high play. But I do like the Bills at home, guys. Anything under 3, I think is a good number with Buffalo at home. I can't wait for the game. But the under and the Bills are kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, see, that this was like my influence on PJ.
Is that what it was?
That's exactly what it was, yes.
Yep.
Sure, I'll tell myself that. PJ Glasser, your host of Send It In, our guest here. Are the Browns for real? And if they are, they're getting, well, this is essentially, kind of a pick'em game. Baltimore getting 2.5 on the road at Cleveland, and Baltimore needing a win after a terrible loss to the Colts. So how do you play this game, PJ?
Guys, best bet of the week, Ravens +3. I like them to win outright. I'm surprised that we've gotten to a 3 with the Ravens. It was 2.5. I thought maybe it'd go back down to 2. I did not think it would get up to 3, especially because the Ravens had some great news today on the injury report. Marcus Williams, their safety, was back practicing. Both of their offensive linemen, Ronnie Stanley, Tyler Linderbaum, were back practicing. We'll see if Marlon Humphrey can come back and play this week. Maybe another one of their defensive players as well. But we know the Ravens have just been derailed by injuries. They're starting to get a little bit healthy. And Lamar Jackson, guys, as an underdog in the regular season, he's 10-0-1 against the spread. Lamar's never lost you money as an underdog if you bet him, ATS. So we're getting a key number this week, divisional matchup. The Ravens, I think, bounce back after that home loss to Indianapolis. You know, you feel like you should have won that game. You lose it. This is kind of the get-back game. So I like the Ravens, guys, +3. That's my favorite bet on the board.
Steelers -3, traveling to Houston, and they're 2-1, but their offense hasn't looked anything lights out at all. And the Texans coming off a big win against a divisional opponent in Jacksonville. Which direction are you leaning for Steelers-Texans, PJ?
So, guys, it's an interesting game because I really think this is a great spot to fade Pittsburgh. Something I always look for throughout the NFL season is teams that have back-to-back prime time games and then have a sleepy spot the next week, which is exactly what Pittsburgh has. 1 o'clock game on the road against Houston. Oh, by the way, they play Baltimore at home next week, so it's like a potential letdown plus a look-ahead spot. I think it's an awesome week to fade Pittsburgh. With that being said, it does feel like we're buying a little bit high on the Texans, right? Like they just had a big upset win on Jacksonville. People are really starting to like Stroud and this offense a little bit. I feel like this number should be more like 4, and I think maybe the scheduling spot is built into the line a little bit. So I really want to fade the Steelers this week. But I'm hoping we get a 3.5 or a 4. If we get that, I would play the Texans. At 3 right now, I still kind of lean that way. But, again, it's early in the week. Hold off and maybe hope we can get a Houston 3.5 or +4 ticket.
PJ, do we want to go anywhere near Saints Buccaneers? Because, well, I assume Carr is going to be okay, or maybe not. Alvin Kamara comes back, but is he going to be coming back and you have to ease him in? Some things I don't know about the Saints. So your thoughts here as New Orleans is giving 3 at home against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Gene, a lot unknown, right? The Kamara angle is an interesting one. Obviously, who's going to play quarterback? It looks like it's probably going to be Jameis for the Saints, but do we know? And then obviously he's going up against his former team. The Bucs have a ton of familiarity. At Saints -3, this wasn't a play for me. But at 3.5, I do like the Bucs. We saw both the Browns and the Steelers last week, a couple of teams that played on Monday night. Both won their games the following week. I think the Bucs coming off a short week, you flush out that loss to Philadelphia. They tend to always play the Saints well. And the Saints, guys, I mean, just how different they look when Derek Carr went down, I think was a little bit alarming. So in a divisional game with 2 very good defenses, it's going to be low scoring. I think getting to 3.5, I like Tampa.
So, PJ, you are the expert here, and we're still alive in our survivor pool. So let me tell you how this went here. So week 1, took Baltimore, comfortable, relax. Week 2, we took Buffalo, comfortable, relax. There's not even anything close to a sweat for Kansas City over Chicago. That was enjoyable. Now I feel like, okay, now the sweat is going to happen. We took Dallas this week. Your thoughts?
So it's between Dallas and San Francisco for me, guys, these 2 weeks. And really, it just comes down to which team you want to save for later on in the season. I think both are great plays. I cannot see Arizona upsetting Dallas and San Francisco 2 weeks in a row. I just can't see it. Maybe they do it. I can't see it. So I think you're good with San Francisco. And then Dallas, guys, coming off of a loss, playing San Francisco next week. If they lose this game, they could very easily be 2-3. And after the Trayvon Diggs injury, that could not be good for that locker room. It's a must-win. I think the statue that is Mac Jones back there against that Dallas pass rush is going to be a nightmare. So I like either play. I think Dallas or San Francisco, you're good either way.
This is why PJ's our guy, right?
Yeah.
Like he said pretty much exactly what we said yesterday right around this time when we were trying to dissect and figure out what our best play was. Now, we're going Dallas because we like the home team. We're going Dallas because of all the reasons you said, and we try to avoid those divisional games where weird things can happen, even though we look at San Francisco and think, all right, well, San Francisco looks like the best team in football right now.
Exactly. And look, I like Arizona first half. I mean, they've been winning at halftime in all 3 of their games, so I think they can get off to a good start. But I agree with you guys. I think the Niners are the best team in football right now, and there's a reason that they are 2 touchdown favorites at home. So I think they win. I think Dallas wins as well.
PJ, great catching up with you. Appreciate you having Gino on the show yesterday, and we'll look forward to talking to you again next week with more winners. All right, bud?
Absolutely. Great talking to you guys. Enjoy the week.
He is the host of Send It In, Odyssey Sports Betting Insider, PJ Glasser, Insider Calls, presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app.
That almost looks inviting. Which game will this go? Okay, I'll just take the plus money. The Dolphins, it's either 2.5 or 3, depending on where you shop. He just like, no, feel comfortable about the Buffalo Bills. So there's an expert right there that's you should feel better, Buffalo fans.
Likes the under, too. Nice contrarian play. Because that over-under is high. You're a lot of people are going to think that Miami's going to score 70 every week. They're not. Especially not against a good defense. They'll get their plays. But I think McDermott's defense, bend but don't break is cliche, but I feel like that's what this defense will be against good offenses like Miami. Bend but don't break. And big plays will happen and will probably frustrate you, but can they keep them out of the end zone? I think, yeah, they can for the most part. Great stuff from PJ there. Some plays for you in college football and also in week 4 the NFL. And we'll get that up and on demand for you as well. You can watch there. You can watch that on our YouTube channel. You can watch it on Twitch at The Fan Rochester, or search out the Sports Bar wherever you get your podcast. Michael tweeted at us earlier today on X and said that he appreciates that we now have our entire show up for you, broken up hour by hour, wherever you get your podcast. So if you subscribe to the Sports Bar, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, of course, the free to download Odyssey app, you'll get all of our content for you right there. there, broken down hour by hour.
Yeah, that is great for like that's happening because we understand like you have jobs. You got to pick up the kids. You've got responsibilities. Now you can listen on demand.
Yeah, and if that's not your thing, you'd rather like go back and listen. We have like a DVR for audio called Rewind, which is inside the Odyssey app as well. When you're listening to the Sports Bar, you can go back and listen to any part of the show that you may have missed for the next 72 hours. That exists as well. So no excuses. When you're giving you great content like what PJ is pushing out there and some winners for this weekend, you can get that anywhere you get your shows.
Dan writing in. Not our Dan. This is another Dan. Add another Dan to the list because I still have the Twitter bird rebelling against Musk. People don't update their apps. Huh?
I mean, I just have mine automatic. I don't have time to manually manage which apps get updated and which ones don't. I'd rather everything work. Just go ahead. I don't care. The people that are worried about, Big Brother watching you or have them having control of when your app's updated, those are the ones that I worry about. Because what are you hiding? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid that they're going to find? I'm not worried about any of that. LeBaron. Harsh. I'd rather listen to 4 hours of Doug Whaley before I listen to DA. Well, LeBaron, you'll get your wish, DA. Moving on. And I don't have a start date for Maggie and Perloff, but Maggie and Perloff will be your new morning team here on the Fan Rochester.
He also added, I'd rather listen to Gene talk immediately after he woke before he had his morning coffee than DA. LeBaron, you want to give me the I will call you at 5:30 tomorrow morning. That's when I get up, and I'll be like, LeBaron, you want to?
Who hurt you, buddy? Yeah. Who hurt you today? Why is LeBaron?
You want to talk about the Rochester Chargers, LeBaron?
It's pretty salty.
Yeah.
I'll drink to that is coming up next in the Sports Bar.
Oh, give me all the drama that's in the New York Jets. Boy, this is why we love the NFL. 2 weeks ago, wow, the toast. My goodness, this was a fun story, and now. Oh, we're back to this. The locker room potentially rebelling. And is this actually going to lead to a trade? I think the Jets actually do this, and I think actually it would make sense. I've got thoughts on that. And yes, the palate cleanser that is Deion Sanders sound after a loss. Of course, Coach Prime is going to say something. He's doing this on a level that is completely different than any other coach. We'll play you this audio, and then you'll see what I'm talking about.
You just said something interesting. You said, this is why we love the NFL. There's one man who, by the time we get to week 10, will be hating the NFL. And it's funny because he's been associated with it for so many years. But by the time we get to week 10, he's going to have had enough, and I'll explain why.
I'm not even looking. I can kind of guess.
I'm going to explain why. What's going on?
Does he tuck through his teeth sometimes?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get to Al Michaels here in a little pit in the Sports Bar. It's Danger and Battaglia with some takes on tap. I'll drink to that on the way next on The Fan.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country.
Battaglia on the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
His level of play, I would say, just generally speaking, obviously the systems are slightly different, but his level of play to me, is just as high now as it was then. He's incredibly fast, as we all know. I'm stating the obvious, but when you have a player like that, and then you've got the other speed elements that they have, Waddle included, it's a lot to handle.
There's Bills head coach Sean McDermott, Tyreek Hill. And that Dolphins offense, Bills opponent coming up here on Sunday. Time for some takes. It's I'll drink to that in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Yeah, a report from Rich Samini that, here we are again with the Jets locker room. Didn't this happen last year with the Jets after they lost 10-3 to New England? And there's another report that, the Jets locker room upset with head coach Robert Saleh, thinking that he's babying quarterback Zach Wilson. Apparently, there was some quote where Saleh was talking about one defensive miscue. But how about your offense there, Coach? Comes this rumor today. Could the Jets be looking to trade for a veteran quarterback? Now, is this real? Is this New York media generated?
Didn't they already do this?
Well, they did, and that guy's out for the season.
Yeah. They're going to do it again?
Well, they could. Yeah. Very easily. Like, if you take a look around, which team in the AFC right now isn't going to go anywhere? And the answer would be Tennessee. The answer should be the Jets should trade for Ryan Tannehill. Look, Tennessee is invested in not one, but two recent draft picks at quarterback. They need to find out what actually they have there. And the question is, all right, you do this, what should Tennessee get in return? Now, don't laugh, Danger, but why the Titans I asked for number one? Remember, Teddy Bridgewater went down. The Eagles somehow got a number one for Sam Bradford.
If the Jets give up a one for Tannehill, they are truly the most dysfunctional organization in the NFL. That would be such a colossal mistake. Such a colossal if they gave up a one. Now, I'm not saying no to the trade for a quarterback. But you ever think with Tennessee, the reason why Ryan Tannehill is out there is because he still gives them the best chance to win, that they're not really interested in evaluating what they have in Malik Willis or in Will Levis, that Tannehill is the guy that on a Sunday will still, even though he's horrible, will still give you the best chance to win. So what does that say about the guys that they have waiting in the wings? They don't have confidence in those guys.
Right. That's why, hey, you want Tannehill? A number one, per favor.
Yeah, not going to happen. I mean, I get it, and I don't hate the idea. If you're the Jets, something has to give, right? Like, you got to get somebody in there because it ain't Wilson, right? It's clear that Zach Wilson just isn't going to be the dude that you need back there, the guy that can command a huddle, the guy that can lead men. He's not that guy. He wasn't that guy last year. They ruined his confidence last year. They brought in Aaron Rodgers. Again, no confidence in Wilson. And now Wilson has to lead the team. And he's what does he stand to gain? Wilson, at this point, probably thinking to himself, like, just get me out of here. Just get me through my rookie deal, and I'll go be a backup somewhere. I'll follow the Sam Darnold plan.
Boy, the Jets would welcome Sam Darnold back at this point. Would they not?
I don't know that he's necessarily an upgrade from what you have. I mean, he's been bad, but Tannehill isn't good. Darnold isn't good. Like, they had a good quarterback. Like, it's unfortunate. You put all your eggs in an almost 40-year-old or 40-year-old quarterback. Is he 40 now? I think he turned 40. 39, 40.
36?
Rodgers?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Tannehill.
No.
Rodgers is 40.
Yeah.
So
you put all your eggs in that basket, and he lasted 4 plays before he started to break down.
Well, name me instances where starting quarterbacks in the NFL actually get traded in midseason. It doesn't happen.
Right.
So, and to your point, Mike Vrabel doesn't give a crap about developing quarterbacks. He's thinking, let me win this week's game.
No, he's a meathead.
Yeah.
He's a meathead that only wants to win on Sunday. That's it. That's all he cares about. And if you can't give me a chance at doing that, I will find somebody who will. I don't think he cares about developing either of those two guys. I think they're just waiting, and they're not getting reps, and they're not going to get a true test or be able to really see what they have in either of those guys. Whenever they put Willis out there, I mean, it's always fun because he's dynamic and he's an athlete, but he's kind of a mess, right? He's like from a distance, he looks magnificent. But then you watch his game up close, you're like, ooh.
Well, this is what happened to it. Liberty was running a high school offense, and that's why he slipped to the third round. So I understand why they didn't unleash him last year, but if he hasn't seen the field by now, if he's third string right now, something's wrong.
And also, Tannehill is not a guy that's worried about developing these guys. He's just gone as far as to say so. Like, I'm not here to develop my replacement. Like, okay. I mean, like, if that's how you want to roll, that's fine. You're not really showing any loyalty to the team, and you're only thinking about yourself, but okay.
Let me give you another player. What about Cousins? If Minnesota continues to lose and Cousins, he's not going to be the long-term plan.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what are you asking for Cousins if you're the Vikings? Are you asking for a first?
They once upon a time gave up a first, so yeah.
It's crazy. I don't think any of it
Come
happens.
on, I'm trying to wish this into existence.
I know. But you know what we should do? We should give up a one, sure, but let's just sit back and enjoy the fact that the Jets are going to probably suffer for the majority of this year because they went all in on a guy that is kind of a jerk, right?
Yeah.
It's fine. Like, and they get the win week 1 against the Bills, and that still stings. But I still have the image of Woody Johnson wearing that cheesy '90s hip hop bling.
What was that? Yeah.
Like, what, you mean to tell me that's the owner? That's the guy that runs things, and that's a functional organization? That guy runs a functional organization? They're a mess. They're a mess. They're the Jets, and you see it time and time again in the NFL. And even when teams play well, the Bengals are playing well the last couple of years. They're still the Bengals. They're still going to screw things up. Every team has its own multiple layers of the Bills have some layers of dysfunction. We've seen it already this year. How is Takeo Spikes sitting behind an overhang, right? Like these little things that pop up. It's like, okay, there's some issues.
Yeah, Tim Graham had a piece today. He has it out and kind of an update on it. I guess if Spikes wanted to move to a different part of what that box was,
he could have,
but he wanted to make it a point.
Yeah.
And in this article, there's a quote from Bruce Smith that says, "Yeah, this has been an issue. Like, yeah, this has eroded over the years. The Buffalo Bills and their alums, the current management, not connecting with them."
It's pretty damning, and I get that Spikes probably exaggerated it a little bit for effect, but it does bring to light a bigger problem. Like, let him hang out in the owner's box. What are we doing? This is not like a hard problem to fix. It's an easy fix. Do the right thing.
Unless, just talking in general terms, if your owner was like Elon Musk and just didn't have people skills, maybe just give him a box and have the family in there.
Yeah. How about this weekend in the NFL? You have 4 winless teams that remain through the 3 weeks of the season here. All four of those winless teams, they're matching up on Sunday. You've got 2 games that you can just not even concern yourself with. The Bears and the Broncos, the Vikings and the Panthers. Just gross. Also gross, the upcoming slate of primetime games. You have Packers Lions tomorrow. Now, that should be fun. But then it's followed by those Jets and the Chiefs on Sunday. Yuck. Giants, Seahawks on Monday. And if you want insult to injury for our friend Grumpy Al Michaels, look at what happens when you look ahead on the Thursday night schedule. Because next week on Thursday night, I can't wait to hear the promos tomorrow night next week.
I have not looked.
Bears, Commanders. Putrid. Week 6. Jags, Saints. That's week 6 for Thursday Night Football.
Not great, Bob.
Followed by Bucks and Bills week 7, which, by the looks of it right now, that could be a one-sided affair, not really a compelling matchup. Titans, Steelers week 8. And then we should get peak Grumpy Al when the Panthers play the Bears in week 9.
9 times.
Late season flexing is possible this year. Let me rephrase that, Gene. Late season flexing is a necessity this year. None of these games are going to draw a big audience on Thursday night. Get ready for Grumpy Al.
Oh, no. Now, you bring this up. Bills fans love their regiment. They're planning ahead. I don't want, hey, we're going to go down to wherever, and, oh, wait, that game isn't on Sunday. It's going to be on Thursday. So I'm hoping this does not somehow involve the Buffalo Bills because you have the crappy Bears on. Also, sidebar, baseball playoffs begin next week. Bears Commanders still will beat whatever baseball playoff game is going to be on that night. And then
Bears Commanders on Prime will outdraw the Major League Baseball playoffs. Yes?
That night, yeah. Right? Wouldn't you think?
I look, I don't really know what the numbers are on Prime.
They don't tout them, right?
Yeah, we don't hear about those, which lead me to believe that it's probably not as great as they originally thought it was going to be. But, hey, we're billionaires and who cares? We're just throwing money away. That schedule for Prime, yuck. Al is going to be peak grumpy. Big mad Al.
I know we're running late here, Danger, but I got to play this for you. You know why people love Coach Prime?
Where do I start?
Yeah. Well, for one, there's no coach speak. It's only direct speak. What you want to hear, not couching things. Listen to this question, okay? And it's a legit question that was posed to Deion Sanders as to why a 5-star recruit, his name is Kamari McLean. He plays corner. He's not seeing the field. So that's the question. Like, why isn't this top recruit not seeing the field? Coach Prime doesn't even wait for the question to wrap up here.
Last week that Cormani seeing the field was up to Cormani. I wonder if you could elaborate on what you want to see him do, one. And two, did he help his case?
Study, prepare.
Late against
Study,
Oregon?
prepare, be on time for meetings, show up to the darn meetings. Understand what we're doing as a scheme. Want to play this game, desire to play this game, desire to be the best in this game, at practice, in the film room, and on your own free time. You do know that I check film time for each player upon the week. Thursday, I need film times from the whole staff so I can see who's been preparing. And that's just not about commodity, it's about a multitude of them. So if I don't see that you would be a fool to put somebody out there and they're unprepared.
He's the best. He's the best. I love that.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely right. Could you imagine, if that in the NFL, Kyler, let me see your film study. Let me see how much have you done. What are you talking about, Coach?
I don't care. That's why it would never work in the NFL.
Yeah, and he's gone as far as to admit it. Like, what I do in college would not work in the NFL. They're grown men. They're professionals. They're getting paid millions of dollars to play this sport. What I'm doing in college, I'm trying to shape these guys, mold these guys. And everything you said there, study, prepare, be on time for meetings. Like that. Those are the reasons why you're not seeing him on the field. Makes sense. It makes sense. You want to be here, nothing gets handed to you. You got to work for it. I love it.
Yeah, and if this doesn't work out, you can go somewhere else because I will recruit somebody to take your job.
That's absolutely right. All right, we get to Armando Salguero, Outkick. We'll talk some Bills, Dolphins. We'll talk some NFL. With the great Armando, we love when Mr. Salguero stops by the sports bar, the original Mr. 305, stopping by the sports bar next. Danger and Battaglia, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Odyssey has
The Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Bills linebacker Terrell Bernard is the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. 6 players on the injury report today, including 4 players in the secondary: Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Taron Johnson, and Saron Neal. Also not practicing, Ryan Bates and Leonard Floyd. Head coach Sean McDermott wants his team to keep their identity.
Best you can, stay true to who you are. Like I said, fundamentally, I think that's the biggest thing, is just making sure that we are bringing fundamentals to the game. And we're practicing those today, and that's going to be highly important to our success.
Armando Salguero from Outkick will be joining us later this hour. Big trade in the NBA today. Damian Lillard going from Portland to Milwaukee. It's a 3-team deal that also involves Phoenix. Gene Battaglia in the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. Bills, Dolphins.
Picked off by Terrell Bernard!
Mike Danger.
The Bills aren't going to be scared of Miami. They're going to go into this game, whereas we might view Miami as this team that just put up 70 against another professional football team. The Bills don't care about that, and they know this team is a team that they beat 2 out of 3 times last year, including in the postseason.
Gene Battaglia.
My concern about this are the 2 guys on the back end, Poyer and Hyde. Do they get beat over the top? Does Tua pick apart? Are these Dolphins receivers running back at all? Are they just going to run past these 2 guys? I'm going to be fascinated how McDermott plays those 2 guys this week.
The cheetah!
Do whatever you want, bro. I don't got an opinion on that.
Buy or sell that the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift romance is a PR stunt.
Wow.
Colin Kaepernick.
Jets.
Jets. Guys, emotional times in Baltimore and around baseball after the passing of Hall of Fame third baseman Brooks Robinson.
You've got the postseason shaping up.
Buy or sell, it's actually a good thing for baseball to have new blood in the playoffs.
I want to buy this so badly.
Nice pass across, scores! Brandon Byro lets it rip.
Buffalo's 4-1 win, and of course, Sabres are right back at it tonight.
95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
We check in with our pal Armando Salguero, the original Mr. 305 from Outkick. We'll talk some Bills, Dolphins here in a couple few. We appreciate you stopping by the Sports Bar. It's Danger and Battaglia at 95.7 FM and AM 950. You can find the Fan Rochester where we sound our best. The free-to-download Odyssey app on your smart device when you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan. Our video stream up for you as well at the Fan Rochester on YouTube and Twitch. I'm just over here laughing to myself, just amusing myself with our last guest, PJ Glasser's Baltimore accent. And you know, we've kind of ripped off the SVP Timmy Kirkshin bit, but it's just too good to not execute when you have somebody from Baltimore that you're close with. You have to throw names at them.
Well, this happened just by accident, because when we were talking about the Women's World Cup of soccer, and PJ
came out.
Yeah, Megan Rapinoe. I'm like, what? Who? And we had to stop. Like, that was not planned. I'm like, wait, who is the woman that plays on this team sometimes with pink hair, PJ? Oh, Megan Rapinoe. Oh. Yeah, Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah, it's the Baltimore accent, and it's fantastic. And it got Tim Kirkshin for years whenever SVP would drop it on him, and it gets me. I have a friend in Baltimore who'll drop it on me, and it's a guaranteed laugh out loud for me every time. If you can execute a Baltimore accent, if you're from Baltimore and you talk that way, I'm going to crack up. I'm going to point and laugh at you. And PJ knows exactly where we're at. He knows exactly. I mean, and on top of that, he gives us some winners. So we love having PJ around. And if you missed him, we'll get that up and on demand for you shortly. You can listen with Odyssey Rewind in the free-to-download Odyssey app. Go back and listen to any part of the show that you may have missed for the next 24 hours.
That is such a lovable accent down there in Maryland as compared to, I don't know, Mike Danger. Oh, yeah, I'm going to take my daughter to the Bills game and have some hot wings.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to go up to Buffalo, and I'm going to go get some hot wings and blue cheese. And then after that, I'm going to take my kids to the Bills game.
I think I need to take her to the Pinto Ron ketchup mustard ceremony.
I don't even know where that is. I got to be honest.
I've gotten directions. Yeah. I've gotten multiple invites on X, and Yacht Rock John is I guess tight with Kenny Pinto Ron.
Oh, right.
So we might be making the rounds, just looking around, just soaking it all in, not looking for trouble, not looking for debauchery, but just taking in all of the sights and all of the traditions of a Bills game day. It's our first game, after all.
I hadn't done that in a while, and for the Bengals playoff game, Trista Crick, but she was parked on the other side of the world. And you forget how big, when I say over the other side of the world, if you're walking from California all the way to the other side of the field house, that was a 40-minute walk. When I had to go find Trista, and finally I find her through the crowd. So, yeah, it's a massive city. Here's my question. If you see Pinto-Ron, because isn't his thing the bowling ball, and he's going to give you cherry
shots? Get the bowling ball
Yeah.
shots, you get the ketchup and mustard thing, the whole thing, and the food. I don't know that the file cabinet pizza is part of their tailgate. I know that that's somewhere around there. I'm excited for all of it. I'm more excited for her than for me. But she's. You got to understand, like, she's out of her mind. She's texting me while we're on the air. Do you want to go shopping for Bills gear tonight, or should I just go get some right now? She's excited to go out and get her Bills gear so she can represent on Sunday.
Leah, your father's on the air. Can it wait till 6 o'clock?
You know how I am.
I know.
I have a hard time sometimes staying focused, Gino. And if it sounds like I'm operating the controls here with my feet, it's because I've got my text blowing up from my daughter on the secret texto. So give me the forecast.
75 and sun.
Perfect day.
You see the forecast next week? We're gonna be getting up to 80 by next Friday.
See, I don't need it to be hot in October. 75 is fine.
75 is fine.
But if you're telling me it's going to be 80s in October, that feels weird. That feels off to me. The leaves on the trees are just going to sweat, and then the first day that we get to like 40, they're all going to fall off at once.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, listen to this. Tuesday, 82. Wednesday, 84. Thursday, 83. Friday, 85.
Oh, my goodness.
What is going on?
That's all next week?
That's all next week. I'm not going to complain.
No, nothing's going to change until Section 5 football season ends, and then we'll get the bad weather, right?
Yeah, it'll be like the first Friday night. Oh, I can go home. And nope, crappy. Sorry, Danger. You're out of luck.
We're going downtown again on Friday for Friday Night Rivals. We have Spencer Port and Wilson on Friday night. That'll be fun.
That is, all these games are fun.
Absolutely. And we've been blessed with what you're describing. Great weather. Every Friday night has been great.
It's because they hired us, and that's what we demand.
Yep. Yeah, it's in our rider. We will only come out if the weather is appropriate. We'll talk to Armando here, Armando Salguero from Outkick. He used to cover the Dolphins for the Miami Herald as well, and so he knows his team inside and out, and plenty to dissect with Miami here. If they're off to a hot start, 3-0 obviously, and everybody wants to talk about the 70 points that they dropped on Denver on Sunday. But it is a team that the Bills, have had some struggles with, but have gotten the better of here for the most part. Josh Allen. God, did somebody cross my feed that if he wins on Sunday, he will have now beaten the Dolphins
9 times?
Oh, you're not losing if that's at stake here.
That's right.
Why didn't somebody point this out to us?
How many
before?
sacks did they have of Sam Howell?
9 times.
If Allen wins on Sunday, it'll be how many wins against the Dolphins in his career?
9 times.
I think we know where this is going.
Yeah.
Come on. You've got some sports bar karma working for you, Josh Allen. Get that win on Sunday. All that aside, what has Armando seen through 3 weeks? What's different about this team? And am I crazy, or do they actually look faster this year than they did last year? They were fast last year, and it's a lot of the same guys, but they look faster this year.
Yes. But I also want to get Armando's perspective. I mean, what we saw out of Denver, was that just Denver laying down? I mean, when you're seeing Achane run freely and Mike White with rainbows over the top, it can't just be all Miami. The guys are supposedly getting paid on the other side, too. So I would just – we forgot about the defensive coordinator there in Miami now.
Oh, Vic Fangio.
Yeah, that was a revenge game for him in that one.
Yeah, well, I thought it was going to be a revenge game for Sean Payton, the team that wanted to hire him, that couldn't hire him because they tampered with him. Yeah, Sean Payton, none too pleased in the postgame on Sunday afternoon, and I guess I would be the same way if my team quit on me. they quit.
I think all NFL head coaches have some degree of a-hole in them. He has a lot
Big
of it.
time.
Yeah.
Big time. So we'll get Armando's thoughts next here in the Sports Ball. We'll get some more news and notes from the NFL throughout the course of the afternoon as well. You can join us at 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Armando Salguero from Outkick next in the Sports Bar on the Fan Rochester.
Odyssey has sports for every fan.
Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Most really good offenses do that. Sal mentioned Kansas City. They make you do something that you don't really want to do or that's not in your wheelhouse. So that's why they're good. They put you out on the edge and try and get you in bad positions.
Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott on the Miami offense, which will put you in awkward conditions, including 70 points scored against. It's all anybody wants to talk about. We want to talk about it as they come to town Sunday to take on the Bills. Armando Salguero joins us in the sports bar, the original Mr. 305 from Outkick. Armando, this offense, to my eyes, if it's even possible, it looks faster this year than it did last year. How?
They are clearly, tilting and deciding on moving towards speed and quickness over size and strength. They added Devon Achane in the draft, and he was inactive the first game of the season, and he wasn't really supposed to be that big a deal. He came in on Sunday kind of as a change of pace and a let's get him in there type of situation. And he rushed for 200 yards. And he is just as fast as any of the other ones. There's talk about Raheem Mostert and Tyreek Hill racing, and Mostert thinks he's faster than Tyreek Hill. And if anyone knows anything about Tyreek Hill, dude's fast. And so when you've got that situation going on, they are obviously a team that believes that speed kills. And they did to the Broncos.
Yeah, the story that Dolphin fans were actually booing at the end because, they didn't go for the record there. 70. I didn't think a team in this day and age could score 70, and it's a credit to Miami. But, Armando, what does this say about Denver? Did they quit in that game?
Absolutely, they quit. It was. If you watch the tape, and some people do, there are moments in the second half where the Dolphins are running the football, and they ran it for 350 yards. They're running the football, and there's 5 Denver Broncos defenders on the ground, and they're making no extreme effort to get up. And when that's happening, typically the next day, defensive coordinators answer for it with their jobs. Obviously, Vance Joseph didn't this week, but that was pathetic what the Broncos did.
So, Armando, we're looking forward to this matchup. We remember the matchups last year, and they were all very, very tightly contested. What do you see that's different about Miami coming into this matchup against the Bills? And what do you see about the Bills that are different this season versus last season when the Bills were able to win 2 of 3?
Well, I mean, let me go with the obvious and the low-hanging fruit. The last 2 times the Bills played the Dolphins, or at least the last time, Tua Tagovailoa did not play, right? And so, and that was in the playoff game, and it was still somewhat close. Look, Tua is in a zone right now. He threw 4 touchdown passes last week. He had 3 incompletions. So he's feeling good about the fact that there is belief in him with the coaching staff, which he didn't have before. And he's feeling good about the fact that he's not getting hit. He's been hit the fewest of any quarterback, or the least of any quarterback in the NFL this year. And that's a huge deal for him because it affects durability. And that's what he has been questioned about the last couple of years, his durability. So that's important. And the fact that they're getting the ball out so quickly, it's very frustrating. The fact that they can, in fact, run the football is also very frustrating for defenses and has been.
Armando Salguero from Outkick, our guest here in the sports bar. So when you look at this Buffalo offense, now week 1, notwithstanding, it was just a terrible performance, but they figured it out the last 2 games, albeit against competition that's not going to be quite up to what Miami presents. My question, Armando, is Vic Fangio, how do you think he goes about defending against Josh Allen and the Bills offense?
Well, so I was at that Bills season opener in New York, and I covered that for Outkick. And the defense of Josh Allen is Josh Allen. If Josh Allen shows up and is not careful with the football and wants to play hero ball and, turns the ball over, then the Bills are going to grind to a halt. It's as simple as that. If Josh Allen is taking care of the football, it's problematic for Vic Fangio and every other defensive coordinator in the NFL. There is no stop Josh Allen formula other than hope that Josh Allen just isn't careful with the ball and turns it over. Vic Fangio knows defense. He is the highest paid defensive coordinator in the NFL. And this year he has shown a penchant for blitzing late when in the past he has been I'm never going to blitz. I'm going to get my pressure with the front four or, my four rushers. They're going to pressure and I'm not going to blitz. Well, he's blitzing now, especially late in games.
Armando, Mike McDaniel, a byproduct of the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. And I think what Shanahan has always done is found ways to get his players in positions that highlight their strengths rather than try to force them to improve on their weaknesses. And I'm curious, it's clear that that's what he's done with Tua. We've always kind of viewed Tua as a one-read quarterback. We've always kind of viewed Tua as somebody who's not great at throwing the ball downfield, where he becomes a little bit of a liability. What can a team do? What can a defense do to maybe get McDaniel and Tua off of their groove a little bit here? Is it about getting pressure with that front four? Is it about dialing up some blitzes, something exotic to kind of get him to do more than what he's been doing so far this year, which has been exceptional, but let's face it, I mean, it's kind of masking the deficiencies in Tua's game.
Yeah, there's two things, and it's hard to do. Number one is make him come off that first read. And you're absolutely right. Tua is typically a one read and plant your foot and throw it to the guy that you were going to throw it to before the ball was snapped.
Right.
And the ball is out, and now you're not getting hit. And if you're not getting hit, your chances of, being durable the entire season and actually being available increases dramatically. Those are the things that have hurt him in the past, in that sometimes teams force them to come off the first read. And now he's holding the ball, and now he can get hit. If you can force him to come off his first read and hold the ball, it's a totally different ball game. The problem has been that outside of Bill Belichick a couple of weeks ago, no one has been able to get him to come off that first read because he's got a very good playmaking core. He's got a very good wide receiver core. Tyreek Hill is great. Jalen Waddle is great. Their running backs are available and have all of them have good hands. It's problematic to make him do what you want to do because he has answers to practically everything.
Armando Salguero from Outkick is our guest. Armando, Danger hates it when I play the what-if game, but honestly, when it comes to Tua, there's a couple big what-ifs. It was only a couple years ago on Halloween where Tua's up at the podium in Buffalo after a rough loss, and there's all these rumors and speculation that he's going to get traded to Houston, but that didn't happen. Whatever Deshaun Watson didn't do, that trade did not happen. And then you had this story that maybe Tom Brady was going to come down from the high tower, and just the idea that the Dolphins openly were trying to move off of Tua. How has the locker room rallied around Tua? Because it's one thing to show talent, but does he have that kind of it factor in that locker room? Is he liked by his teammates?
He's loved by his teammates, and it's easy to do right now, right? Because, he's producing. Yeah. He's the borderline MVP. Like at the quarter pole, he's an MVP candidate. And all those things that you mentioned about a couple of years ago on Halloween and the trade for Deshaun Watson, that was true. The Tom Brady meetings and the Tom Brady talk was true. Mm-hmm. All of it. Mm-hmm. True. All of it. And you don't have to go back that far. Look, the Dolphins this offseason, they decided we're not going to offer Tua Tagovailoa a contract extension. Justin Herbert got a contract extension. Jalen Hurts got a contract extension. Joe Burrow got a contract extension. All of those guys in the same draft as Tua, they got contract extensions. The Dolphins didn't want to do that with Tua because they still had, questions about his durability. And let's face it, 3 games in, it looks great, but 3 games is not 17 games. We're going to see. Let's see if he's got durability issues or not. Let's see if he can play every game. And if he can, he's going to get paid a lot of money, probably more than anybody else. And if he can't, it's going to be something else.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point, Armando. And I always believe that dysfunction within organizations starts at the very top. And Stephen Ross is a beauty. You're closer to it than we are, so you get to see it more firsthand. When do you think? What do you think is the threshold for Tua getting that extension? Is it as simple as completing a season and getting to the postseason? Is it something that we could see during the season based on how he's looked so far?
My guess is that they will wait until after the season. At this point, it's the best scenario for both sides in that if Tua, who is not getting hit a lot, we just mentioned that, and has done the work in the offseason to be able to withstand hits better. He enrolled in jiu-jitsu classes and he got stronger and all that. And he's got a different helmet now for the concussions. So it's to his benefit to wait and to bet on himself because it's looking pretty good right now. No one is come up with 4 or 5 sacks in a game against the Miami Dolphins.
Armando,
Yeah, for him, it's the best thing. For the Dolphins, yeah, man, play great. We'll pay you.
Armando covers the NFL at large for Outkick. Staying in the division, Armando, because you were at the opener for the Jets and how quickly things change here in this league in just 2 weeks. And now you have these stories out in New York that there's friction between the defensive players and Salah. You have these other reports that maybe the Jets are shopping for a quarterback. So I guess the friction story, is that something you view as real, or is this more New York media generated? And in your opinion, secondly, like Zach Wilson, he's not it. Should the Jets actually go out and try to trade for a Tannehill or perhaps Cousins or whoever might be available here?
Well, Kirk Cousins right now is not available, so there's that. The Jets don't have a situation where they can really, unless they move stuff around, can fit Kirk Cousins under the salary cap. That's number 2, and number 3 is the whole friction thing with the defense. Have you watched the Jets defense? They're not exactly, lighting it up. They're 23 in rush yards per game. They're 20th in pass yards per game. They're giving up 20.3 points per game, which is out of the top 10. It's number 11. So maybe they should concentrate on being good themselves before they're worried about how sucky Zach Wilson is. And I got to say to you, there is an element of New York media pushing certain narratives. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, and Armando, I love playing this game because we're 3 weeks into the NFL season and we're already wondering, like, what is this going to look like mid-season? What is this going to look like in the off-season? I mean, you could paint a picture here in New York where they tear it down to build it back up again, and you're left maybe next year with Nathaniel Hackett as your head coach and 1 year of Aaron Rodgers with a recovered Achilles tendon.
Or they're so bad this year that they are in the draft a quarterback sweepstakes at the end of the year, which honestly, if you ask me, that would be perfect for them because now you've got Aaron Rodgers coming back for maybe 1 year at the most, maybe 2. I doubt that, but coming back for at least 1 year, and that quarterback that you drafted number 1 or number 2 or whatever. He's got a year to sit behind Aaron Rodgers and ostensibly being a good player, because Zach Wilson was supposed to be that guy, but he could be behind Aaron Rodgers for 17 years and he'd still struggle.
Armando Salguero, our guest here from Outkick. I'm already looking ahead to 2 Sunday nights from now, Dallas and San Francisco. But there were the Cowboys getting tripped up in Arizona, Armando, and kind of negates what they did against the Giants and the Jets. So I guess the question is, do we know how the story ends here for Dallas, basically? Because we're all expecting, yeah, they'll be a playoff team, but they're not going to get anywhere in the postseason.
That was bad last week for Dallas, in that the Cardinals stole. It's like, you know that scene out of Raiders of the Lost Ark where the guy takes the other guy's heart and shows it to him while it's still beating?
Yeah.
That's what happened to the Dallas defense. They gave up 220 rush yards against Arizona, who wasn't any great threat to throw the ball with Joshua Dobbs, and yet they were able to run, and then Dallas didn't know what to do. They were caught doing whoop, 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 like that. And so then Josh Dobbs was able to throw over the top. Very disappointed in the Dallas Cowboys, and it suggests that not just them, but Dak Prescott. I mean, dude, there was one play where he threw into triple coverage, and shockingly, it was intercepted. Amazing.
Armando, if we're going to talk about clown shoe organizations, humor me for a second. I'm a Bears guy, long-suffering.
Oh.
This is the worst era of Bears football in my lifetime. I'm living through it. I'm getting text messages from my friends every day reminding me how embarrassing my team is. But you're an insider, and you have access that a lot of us don't have. Just how bad was last week for the Chicago Bears?
Well, so forget that the defensive coordinator was on his computer and
watching the wrong kind of film.
Let's put it this way: HR was involved in his departure.
Very good. Understood.
So there's that. And forget that, Justin Fields doesn't feel great about all the information he's being fed. Justin Fields reminds me of Tua Tagovailoa with Brian Flores. It's not working. It's clearly not working. Justin Fields was really good at Ohio State. I saw that. I remember that. Just like Tua was at Alabama once upon a time. Maybe Justin Fields needs a different person in his ear. And I get the feeling, if the arc continues, they say that they're getting better. I don't see it. If they don't, obviously, Eberflus is gone at the end of the season, and there will be different voices in Justin Fields' head.
Armando, if it were not for Kirk Cousins having this brain cramp, like, you've been in this league 10 years and you don't understand to get up and spike the ball. Minnesota should have won that game, and we'd be talking about Brandon Staley and what he did at the end. Like, what does Brandon Staley have to do to keep his job at this point?
He has to win a lot. I mean, Brandon Staley so far is wasted Justin Herbert, who arguably is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Justin Herbert last week threw for like 405 yards, completed like 89% of his passes, and he needed to get lucky to win the game. Why? Because his head coach on 4th and 1 decided from his own 24-yard line with under 2 minutes to play, I'm going to go for it. And they ran a belly play, and it got stopped. And, obviously, rather than having to go 70 or 80 yards, Minnesota only had to go 24 yards to win the game. They couldn't do it, and the result says that Brandon Staley is smart. But no, he's dumb. That dude's dumb. He does dumb things, and the dumbest thing he's doing right now is he's not getting any production out of that defense that has a lot of high-priced talent, including Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, and he's a defensive coach.
Yeah. Armando, I could just the words out of your mouth is like sweet music to my ears. I could sit here and listen to you talk football and just throw questions at you all day. And I know how busy you are. And man, every time you join us, it feels like a gift. So I appreciate you giving us some time this afternoon here in the sports bar.
Yeah, Armando, what game are you going to one this week? And by chance, is it Buffalo, Miami?
Well, I was joking with someone a little while ago. The weather's too good right now in Western New York for me to go to Western New York.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, I don't do Western New York unless there's, 3 inches of snow, 12 inches of snow on the ground, and there's a blizzard in the forecast. I'm sorry.
We need you good and miserable if you're going to come visit Buffalo.
Yeah.
I love it.
That last Saturday night game in December, he also came up for the postseason. I carried a shovel because I saw the forecast, and I'm like, Armando, if you need me, I am here tonight to dig you out. And you said something like, no. Fox knows if they're sending me up to Buffalo, I need something with four-wheel drive.
Absolutely. And that's what I get. And, it's you guys joke about the weather there. Honestly, from someone who's coming from Florida, bring it, because it's fun for 2 days. And then I go home. But it was fun for 2 days.
Yeah. Armando, stay blessed, man. Safe travels, and we'll continue to check your workout at Outkick. Really appreciate you giving us time this afternoon.
Thanks, gentlemen.
You got
Thanks,
it.
Armando.
This is a great Armando Salguero. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. He's not going to pull back on anything. He's given us some unbelievable takes through the course of our time here in the sports bar. Every time Armando joins us, he brings it, and he doesn't hold back. He's dumb. Brandon Staley is dumb. He does dumb things. He's a defensive coach who's got defensive players that are good and high-priced, and they can't do anything with their defense. He's dumb. It's the best.
Isn't it?
It's the absolute best. Love that, and love Armando. Really appreciate him joining us here during Dolphins Week. I feel a little nervous. I mean, there's going to be a lot of challenges for that Bills defense. And how do you get Tua? Tua's a record needle that's stuck in this groove right now. How do you jar him out of that groove so that the record can get
Here's what you do for everybody going to the game for Bills Mafia. Where's your contract? Where's your just get in it?
If that's his motivation and that's what's fueling his play, they're not going to pay him, because why would they? And some of these guys are better with a chip on their shoulder.
Well, in the end, then he's not going to accept a deal right now. Okay, you know what? Tag me at the end, and I will take. Or you make me the highest paid, and this is going the Lamar Jackson route. Assuming, and Armando brings this up, he's got to make it through 17 weeks. That's why the Dolphins didn't do this.
Mm-hmm.
But just the lack of planning. The Dolphins are going to screw this up.
I don't know. McDaniel has done things and is doing things that feel un-Dolphin-like. The mishandling of everything last year with the concussions and the injuries, I could chalk that up to rookie head coach. Never been in that situation before. Doesn't really know. This season so far, man, you've got a guy that could be coach of the year, and you've got a guy that could be your MVP. The way they're playing. And it's going to be on a good defense. It's going to be on the Bills to kind of change that narrative. Jar them loose. Knock them out of that groove. Make the record skip a beat. And then capitalize on those mistakes. Hopefully you can do that.
Ed Oliver.
That's it. Ed Oliver. I don't like seeing Leonard Floyd on the injury report today.
I think that's going to be the new norm for Leonard Floyd. He was last week too.
Yeah. And Greg Rousseau. Can you get to him? Because he's getting rid of the ball quick. He's not looking downfield. He's getting it out of his hands fast. That's going to be the key. And Armando laid it out for us. That's great information there from Armando Salguero from Outkick. All right, we've got happy hour on the way next in the sports bar. We've got a round of shots coming up in the sports bar. We've got time for your calls in the sports bar. If you want to pull up a stool, the number is 866-4326, 866-4FAN. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at Chris writing and let the Jets be in on the Caleb Williams suite. That was another take. Like, the Jets should just go out and lose now. That's a take. And the take is like, maybe the Jets defense really isn't that good. We're just kind of looking at that Bills game, but that was more Josh Allen just being dumb.
And the one thing that he did mention, to bring it back to the Bills, is that Bill Belichick did find a way to kind of alter that offense. They didn't have a great offensive day in their win against the Patriots. So maybe that's a template or a blueprint for Sean McDermott to look at and follow as they look to stifle this juggernaut of an offense that just drops 70 on a professional football team. I still can't get over that. We're not going to see that again in our lifetime. You know that, right? You're not going to see 70 points in an NFL game.
Not in a video game, sure.
In a video game, yeah. If you're playing Madden, absolutely. Happy hour next. A round of shots on the way. 866-4FAN. Get ready to start the NFL week off right tomorrow night. It's Mike Danger for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 95.7 The Fan, because right now, all customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay for Thursday Night Football. We were talking about this earlier. Just place a 3-leg same-game parlay on this week's game between the Lions and Packers. A tasty matchup, NFC North. You'll get bonus bets back if your bet doesn't win. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. Visit FanDuel.com/Mike, M-I-K-E. That's FanDuel.com/Mike, so you don't miss out on your chance to get a no-sweat same-game parlay on America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 plus and physically present in New York. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country.
Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
Terrell Bernard coming off that big game in Washington today. He was named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. Feels a little banged up here. 6 players on the injury report today, including 4 in the secondary. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Turin Johnson, and Saran Neal. Also not practicing today, Ryan Bates and Leonard Floyd. Head coach Sean McDermott says holding on to the ball is key.
Right, yeah, I mean, when you're playing a team like an explosive team, a team that scores like this offense does, and you have to play a complementary game. And so all 3 phases have to blend together and work together. So it's certainly going to take all of us to get it done.
A big trade in the NBA this afternoon. Damian Lillard is going from Portland to Milwaukee. It's a 3-team deal that involves Phoenix. Gene Battaglia in the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. Bills, Dolphins.
Picked off by Terrell Bernard!
Mike Danger.
The Bills aren't going to be scared of Miami. They're going to go into this game, whereas we might view Miami as this team that just put up 70 against another professional football team. The Bills don't care about that, and they know this team is a team that they beat 2 out of 3 times last year, including in the postseason.
Gene Battaglia.
My concern about this are the 2 guys in the back end, Poyer and Hyde. Do they get beat over the top? Does Tua pick apart? Are these Dolphins receivers running back at all? Are they just going to run past these 2 guys? I'm going to be fascinated how McDermott plays those 2 guys this week.
The cheetah!
Do whatever you want, bro. I don't got an opinion on that.
Buy or sell that the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift romance is a PR stunt.
Wow. Colin Kaepernick.
Jets. Guys, emotional times in Baltimore and around baseball after the passing of Hall of Fame third baseman Brooks Robinson.
You've got the postseason shaping up.
Buy or sell, it's actually a good thing for baseball to have new blood in the playoffs.
I want to buy this so badly.
Nice pass across, scores! Brendan Byro lets it rip.
Buffalo's 4-1 win, and of course, Sabres are right back at it tonight.
95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
Nothing comes easy for me as a fan. You know, I'm excited, and it was it June, July? When did I make the proclamation that the Cubs were going to be in the postseason? I want to say it was July. It was after the All-Star break, but it wasn't late in the season.
Right, it was before we got the training camp, so somewhere in that area, the dead of summer.
I looked at their run differential. I looked at the way they were playing. I look at the lineup, and I saw production out of some of the veteran guys that they've got on 1-year deals. I like what they've got with David Ross, who's like the manager / coach or the player coach that you had when you won the World Series in 2016. I'm telling you, man, they're making me sweat. They're making me sweat like they shouldn't be making me sweat. You can't blow a 6-run lead against the Braves and expect to be in the postseason or do anything in the postseason. Come on now, Cubs.
Now, there are 12 teams that make the postseason, and it's funny you bring up run differential. Team with the best run differential this year, it's actually Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. They are, in terms of the wild card teams, Houston is second. I'm just doing the wild card teams. Chicago's third. They might miss the postseason. They have a 100-run differential. And the thing that, I told Danger, oh, by the way, the White Sox lost today to Arizona. Not that you would expect the White Sox to do you any favors. Right. But now here comes the irony of ironies. Who is a Met fan today? That would be Mike Danger. Because they're playing the Marlins. And Mike Danger, I'm here to tell you, we're here for you, buddy. The Mets leading the Marlins is 4-0 in the 4th.
That's good.
That's a team you need to worry about.
That's encouraging. Yes. If you're telling me that the Mets are getting over on the Marlins, and the Marlins certainly don't belong in the postseason.
So come on now.
That's encouraging. Welcome into the sports bar.
See, it's not as fun anymore when the Mets are totally irrelevant.
Well, they're doing me a favor. They're doing me a solid if they're taking care of the Marlins. Welcome into the sports bar. We appreciate you joining us for happy hour. We're here every afternoon from 3 until 6, and if you're making us part of your ride home, we appreciate that, even if it's just for 5 minutes. It's humbling, and we don't take it for granted. You're giving us some of your time, your most valuable and precious commodity, and it's a gift for us to be able to talk sports with you here in the Flower City at 95.7 FM FM and AM 950. We sound our best in the free-to-download Odyssey app. We've got the stream up at The Fan Rochester on YouTube and on Twitch, or even on your smart device when you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan. Great conversation with Armando Salguero from Outkick last hour, who kind of gave us all the reasons why Miami is looking the way they're looking so far this season. PJ Glasser of BetQL's Send It In gave us some winners for this weekend's action in college and pro football. And I want to go back to something that we were discussing during I'll Drink to That earlier, about an hour ago now. We were looking at the schedule for primetime schedule.
Oh, it's okay tomorrow night. I mean,
tomorrow night's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's
Green Bay, Detroit, that's fun. It's at Lambeau. Detroit, won there to knock Green Bay out of the postseason last year. We all have that memory, that vision of Aaron Rodgers walking off the field, arm in arm with Randall Cobb, and how it all ended for them there and how Detroit got to play spoiler. So that game will be fun tomorrow night. But after that, if you're just an NFL fan who watches the primetime games, oh boy.
You give us a list there.
You get the Jets on Sunday night, the Aaron Rodgers-less Jets on Sunday night against the Chiefs. That's at MetLife. That's the Sunday Night Football matchup. Hey, at least maybe Taylor Swift is in the booth.
Well, no, maybe Collinsworth will talk about Taylor Swift. Boy, Patrick Mahomes is throwing the Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Yeah.
This team. I just love the Kansas City Chiefs.
He's the worst. Monday night, not necessarily a sexy matchup, although they were two playoff teams last year, and these are two teams that I said at the beginning of the season, there were nice stories last year. They're not going to be in the postseason this year. That's the Giants and the Seahawks, and maybe the Seahawks surprise us, but the Giants don't look good this year. That's your Monday night game coming up here in week 4.
Ugh.
Now, if you want insult to injury, if you're grumpy Al Michaels, when you look ahead on the Thursday night schedule, I can't believe you didn't know this. Maybe I know it because of proximity, but next week, Thursday night, you get this barn burner of a matchup between my Bears and the Commanders.
I'm not tuning in next Thursday night. Is that possible? I'm trying to think. I certainly don't have any Bears on my fantasy team, and I don't think I have any Commanders either.
So you're not interested. That's not one you want anything to do with. That's fine, Gino. That's fine. Maybe we can get you in week 6 when the Jags take on Seattle. Can I interest you in a Jags-Seattle matchup?
Not great, Bob.
Jacksonville's a half beat off this year, too. Seattle again? Really? Okay.
No, I'm sorry. New Orleans. Did I say Seattle?
You said Seattle. Okay.
I'm sorry. Jags-Saints week 6.
Okay, no on that.
You're going to watch week 7 because the Bills are hosting the Bucs. But if the Bucs look the way they look and the Bills look the way they look.
Yeah, time out. Will America be interested in that? Okay, here are the Bills rolling up the Buccaneers. Click.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That could be one-sided. Titans-Steelers week 8. And then I think you get peak grumpy Al questioning life decisions by the time you get to week 9 when you've got another primetime game for the Bears against the Panthers. Al might just set Soldier Field ablaze.
Oh.
So I know that late season flexing is possible this year. It's not a possibility. It's a necessity. You're going to have to flex some of these games. This lineup is terrible for primetime. You're not going to draw the kind of audience that the NFL expects to draw. These matchups suck.
The good news, I guess, from a Buffalo standpoint is because I don't want the Bills flex to Thursday night. Nobody would want them flex to Thursday night, but the Bills are already kind of locked in because you mentioned that one game between the Bears and the Panthers. Well, the Bills are already penciled in on Sunday Night Football, so against the Bengals, that's not going to happen. So the fact that the Bills are already kind of pieced out, but boy, that's going to upset whatever fan base. If you get flexed to Thursday night, I like my routine. I don't need, especially if you bought tickets.
Yeah, coaches are going to hate it. Players are going to hate it.
Well, here's a better idea. Maybe schedule good games on Thursday Night Football, and you don't have to worry about it.
Well, I think their intention was good with the Jets and the Chiefs on Sunday night. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't blow out his Achilles, you've got a pretty good matchup there between two very popular quarterbacks.
It's funny how when the first week they can flex is next week. And when you had Sean Payton running his mouth on Hackett and the Jets, I'm like, oh, wow, I want to see that in primetime now.
Now you don't want to see that game. Right.
No.
Now
Keep
it's
it
just
buried,
a grudge match between two sucky teams.
Well, I brought this point up, and I didn't know the numbers. Now I do.
Okay.
Honestly, who is excited about Bears Commanders? I'm looking across here at a Bears fan. You're not excited.
I mean, I'm excited because I'm going to get together with friends, and we're going to have beers and eat bar food and watch bad football.
But we have now divisional playoff series. Honestly,
Major League Baseball's postseason gets underway.
Remember, it's a different format now. It used to be just the one wild card, one and done. No, we're going to have real series next week that are going to involve some big teams. It'll involve the Phillies, and it'll involve, you figure, the Rays and the Twins and whoever comes out of the West there that doesn't get the division. What do you think is the differential between NFL ratings and baseball ratings? Well, now, you could say, they're pretty close because it's Amazon. The Amazon game for the 49ers and the Giants drew 14.8 million.
That was 14.8 million people streamed that game.
On average. I'm just doing the average number, which that's a big number. And you know why that is? Because it's two big markets. It's still early in the season. That was a big number for Amazon.
That's a big number for Amazon, and that's a bigger number than anything baseball can throw out there.
Baseball opening round last year averaged 3.4.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
That's insane.
You could throw whatever, the crappiest of crap matchups, and I dare you to find anything worse than Bears Commanders or laying on Bears Panthers. It will still destroy baseball.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So Bears Panthers, what did I say? That's week 9. Is that
unless there's weather rain out, they should be wrapped up on the World Series by then.
They'll be wrapped up by then. I was going to say, what World Series matchup would Major League Baseball need to even be remotely close to competitive? I don't think there is one. But what would be the closest that you could get?
Problem for baseball is that the big guns in the American League, is anybody getting excited about the Rays or the Rangers or the Dodgers? I think would bring a number. I think the Braves are kind of the Cubs. If somehow the Cubs go on a magical carpet ride and find their way in,
get some eyeballs.
That'll get some eyeballs. It's
the Orioles, no, nobody cares.
Nope,
because they're young and
nobody,
kind of no names, but they're fun. They're a fun team.
Baseball fans would love it. Middle America's like, who are these guys? The Orioles, no, they don't care about that. The Astros, I think we're well beyond the cheating. They didn't pull great numbers last year, so why would
the Braves probably won't pull great numbers because the Braves are always there.
No, you need the Yankees or the Red Sox. You need the big market, the national teams. That's kind of
Dodgers would be one.
The Dodgers would be one.
A Dodgers-Cubs series would probably draw, but that's you're going to see that at best NLCS, best case scenario for either of those teams.
And the Phillies, probably not. I'm sorry. They made it to the World Series last year. Then,
That's unbelievable. I didn't realize just how many people were streaming on Prime. If they're saying over 14 million.
Well, that's what they're saying. That's the thing. What I'm quoting for baseball is Nielsen. What they're saying, okay.
That's their numbers, their digital numbers. It's still kind of the wild, wild west, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Where not that the numbers aren't legitimate; they're legitimate numbers. But I mean, let's face it. It's you're leaning on technology, and you're also talking about with streamers. It's why streamers are getting crushed, right? Because you have password sharing going on and account sharing going on, and.
Speaking of which, I'm losing my Netflix hookup. Oh, have you seen that? Oh, yeah. Have you gotten that? You will be I thought you were supposed to share. That was the whole thing with Netflix.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. I don't really subscribe to Netflix. What's that show? Stranger Things? I've never heard of it. Never watched it.
Never.
Foreign to me. Really have no idea what you're talking about. Well, that's unfortunate, Gino. Yeah, the streamers are getting killed. And a big part of why they're getting killed is so if it's 14 point whatever million, how many subscribers are actually watching? That number might be lower. Like half than what Amazon is actually, what they care about more than anything is people subscribing to the service, right? Well, more eyeballs on our products.
Yeah, and all of a sudden their big standalone game on Black Friday, Jets and Dolphins.
Not as again.
No,
that Aaron Rodgers injury ruined the NFL schedule. It just ruined it. There's so many opportunities for that team to be on primetime that just get thrown out the window. Now everything isn't sexy anymore. That's powerful stuff if you're Aaron Rodgers. It's powerful stuff if you're a quarterback with any kind of star power.
Oh, Aaron, secretly, he's loving this. He's loving the fact that you're not winning without me and that the kid is not anything compared to me.
Well, yeah, because it also adds to his value. It just shows how valuable a player he actually is for whatever franchise he's a part of. There's a part of me that wants to feel bad for the Jets. I don't, but I should, because any fan base that has this happen to them, you're right to believe you're cursed. You're cursed. All of the hope that you had is gone. All of those opportunities to see your team in prime time on the biggest stages, gone. You'll still have them unless they get flexed out, but it's not going to be what you thought it was going to be. Feel bad for you, Jets fan. Not really, but
no. Not at all.
Not really, but that's the bed you chose to lay in. You decided to stick your D in crazy and bring in Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
Only in the way Danger can explain it.
That's right. You come here for the in-depth analysis. I'm just a wordsmith, Gino. Just lay it out for you like that. Bills-Dolphins on Sunday. And we'll have the game for you here with pregame getting underway, starting at 9 o'clock. Kickoff just after 1. We heard from Sean McDermott today. Lots of sound. We didn't do McDermott McLies. I don't know if there are any McLies to be told about the Miami Dolphins.
Pick one. Well, let's define a lie, because if he's bending the truth, like, is the Dolphins offense revolutionary, as he said yesterday? Like, debatable. It was one game.
Yeah. I've got 30 seconds on Sean McDermott just talking about the Miami Dolphins.
3. I'm going to go low on this because he's going to talk in circles. He's going to state facts. This is the new McDermott way, by the way. He's going to tell you things you already know. Well, they're off. Here's what I would say. Well, they're off to a great start. They're 3-0, and we know this is going to be a big challenge for our team. Their quarterback is playing really well. He's going to talk in circles like that. 3 lies.
Yeah, very good. I mean, they're all as advertised. I mean, they're explosive. Anybody that touches the ball can score. Whether it's what you think is going to be a 2-yard run turns into a crease and a gasher. Same thing with the passing game. So Coach McDown does a great job of just moving guys around, creating different styles of offense. It's a handful.
I only hit the ding on anybody who touches the ball. Center touches the ball technically every play. You're lying.
That's a lie.
Center's not scoring. No. Stop lying to us, Coach.
Does the punter, he's going to touch the ball too at some point?
Yeah, your long snapper isn't scoring. I mean, McDaniel's revolutionary. He's not that revolutionary. He's not going to come up with a play where the kick holder, where the point after attempt is where he's scoring. Come on.
McDermott sounds like he hasn't slept since the Washington game. That is a great sign. I need sleepy Sean McDermott, just burning, burning the midnight oil, watching tape, everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think we're going to run a little low on McLies.
Give me one more for some hope here.
How about the Miami running game?
How many seconds?
This is 65 seconds of Sean McDermott just pouring it on the Miami running game.
Again, I'm going to go 3.
It's clear that they stress that, they emphasize that. They do a really good job of schematically putting the players in position with their blocking schemes, and then also they have weapons in the backfield that, as I said earlier, can, all 3 backs can go. And you give them a crease, and they're going to be gone like they've been this year, and in particular last week. And I think the running back depth and the style of runners that they have in week 1 or week 3 last year, they didn't have all those pieces.
Come on.
Now they've got 3 guys that can all go.
Is there still value from last year to this one, or is it different enough that it's more focusing on these 3 games?
I think a little bit of both. You want to focus on this team this year and what they're doing, and try and learn a little bit from that experience. But again, some of the personnel was slightly different.
Zero. This is a serious game here, Danger. Oh my gosh, what is going on?
He's paying respect. He's actually respecting his opponent this week instead of insulting them by pouring it on. Yeah. He's actually respecting Miami. I'm not hearing fear, but I am hearing respect. No lies. No lies told in that clip. I don't think.
I hear a tired man there that's just stating.
What day is
facts,
it? I don't even know. What year are we in? What week is it? Week 7? It feels like week 10. I don't know where we are. Who am I? Why me? Yeah, that's the life of a head coach, man. I wouldn't want it. You wouldn't want it. The guy probably hasn't slept. He probably hasn't been home. He's probably just immersing himself in film.
I cannot wait 15 years from now when Sean's children will be on the Buffalo Bills coaching staff because of all this missed time. Because like you see it with Belichick and you saw it with Gibbs and you see it with Andy Reid. Like you feel guilty, you know.
Every game to get hyped up, they're listening to Cats in the Cradle, just to kind of get into the right mindset before kickoff. Yeah, all these guys, absolutely. It's a guilt, and you're around it. I imagine your kids are probably all about it, and you want to be around it. You want them to be around it because you want them to see what you do and how you do it, and then eventually, if he's here long enough, eventually his kids will. We would be so lucky to have Sean McDermott's kids someday be a part of the organization.
Yeah.
We're really projecting long-term success for this team.
Or, McDermott, like wherever he is 15, 20 years from now.
Maybe, yeah.
With the next organization he's on too.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, look, far cry. Here we are talking about his kids being on the coaching staff from where we were week 1 when everybody wanted to fire him after a bad game against the Jets.
Don't worry. If Miami rolls into Buffalo Monday, will be like, I got rid of Dorsey. I don't understand why he's throwing on 4th and 1.
Yeah. Well, a lot of us are only happy when we have something to complain about. So I get that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. That's Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock. Bills hosting the Miami Dolphins. Last 1 o'clock game until what? November for the Bills?
No,
at home.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think the Patriot game at the end on week 17. That's 1 o'clock.
Really?
That's 1 o'clock. Yeah.
All right. And now I got to know. Because I'm taking my kid for the first time to a Bills game.
Listen.
Yes, Brandon.
Yeah, listen. Giants, prime time.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a Sunday night game. And then you get Broncos. Say that again. I like hearing that.
You're right, Gene. You're right. The
Wait,
next
say again?
The next home 1 o'clock game isn't until New Year's Eve against the Patriots.
And that could get flexed.
God. All right. So there you have it. This game is, for people that like their Sunday afternoon games, this is it. This is your Super Bowl.
Can you say what you said again?
Yeah, Gene. You were right. Don't worry. I don't do this to you when you say I'm right. I don't pour it on. I didn't burst into the studio yesterday when you were on PJ's show and giving me credit for talking about Week 18's matchup. See, I told you.
I gave you credit. I didn't want to, steal your point.
I'm giving you credit now as well. You're right. 1 o'clock, the kickoff New Year's Eve in Orchard Park against the Patriots is the next 1 o'clock home game for the Buffalo Bills.
See, I'm sorry I did that to you. I do that at home all the time with the executive producer.
I'm sure she appreciates it as much as I do, Gene.
Well,
can we get her to call in? Maybe she can co-host the rest of the show. We've only got a half hour left. What has she got going on? You can walk off right now.
I could. Yeah.
Just being right. Nobody cares when you're right. We say it all the time. 866-4326. Julie, call us. 866-4FAN if you want to pull up a stool and join us. Let's get to a round of shots next, Gino.
Yeah, we do have baseball to kind of update you on. And yes, some finals today that impact the wild card race. The Sabres playing on the tiny rink tonight. We'll go over what happened last night as well as the preseason in full swing here for Buffalo. Syracuse basketball schedule is out. We have a firing now official in college football. And, oh, by the way, Like, I thought you're an NFL player. Now, Tre'Davious White not talking to the Bills media, that's a different story, but somebody was not talking today out in Kansas City. I wonder why.
I feel like every day we're going to have another.
You did this to yourself, buddy. You did this. It's called a distraction. Not you. I'm talking about the person we're talking about here in Kansas City.
Absolutely. All right, a round of shots on the way next. Stay in the sports bar. Danger and Battaglia, AM 950, 95.7 FM, The Fan, Rochester.
Odyssey has sports.
Terrell Bernard, the AFC Defensive Player of the Week, this for his efforts in the Washington game. Now it's on to Miami. And Coach Sean McDermott wants his team playing to its identity.
Yeah, I mean, you want to, as best you can, stay true to who you are. Like I said, fundamentally, I think that's the biggest thing, is just making sure that we are bringing fundamentals to the game. And we're practicing those today, and that's going to be highly important to our success.
6 Bills players on the Wednesday injury report, including 4 in the secondary. Safeties Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer not practicing. Also Taron Johnson and Saran Neal. Not practicing Ryan Bates and Leonard Floyd. Big trade in the NBA today. Damian Lillard heading to Milwaukee. 3-team deal that involves Phoenix. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
The beer is cold and the wings are hot. You're in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
When you go back and watch it, it seemed like every other play was a big play and they were scoring, and it honestly looked like they was out there having fun. And I mean, it was fun to watch. I mean, literally every other play they scoring, so it's crazy. We just got to be patient, keep constant pressure on them, and when and if it turns into a drop-back game or they have to drop back, we just need to take our opportunities and just take advantage of them.
Buffalo Bills defensive tackle Ed Oliver talking about that Miami offense that they'll be facing off against come Sunday afternoon. Welcome back into the sports bar on the Fan, Rochester. It's time for a round of shots, Gino.
Yeah, as more details on this big 3-way trade today in the NBA. So Dame Time is going to play with Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee. Now, before we get to the details of the trade, Dame did just tweet this out. The casuals won't be addressed, but the Trailblazer fans in the city of Portland, I love truly, blah, blah, blah. Excited for my next chapter at Bucks. So, okay, so he's on board with this, as you would figure. Big price, though. Portland is going to receive Drew Holiday. DeAndre Ayton goes from Phoenix now to Portland. Tamani Kamara. Milwaukee is going to give up their 2029 unprotected first-round pick, and unprotected swap rights in 2028 and 2030.
I just want you to listen to this for a little bit. Just be inspired by how an athlete, a professional athlete, just can do it the right way. They just say the right things, and they do things the right way. These millionaire athletes, they're not all, they're like us. They're human.
Do you get a promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success. And if you've never, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it. Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure? That's what you're telling me? No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, exactly. So why are you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports.
It's not the wrong question. There are failures in sports.
Okay, yeah. Did Michael Jordan ever go out in the first round as a number 1 seed to an 8 seed?
Did Michael Jordan perform so poorly that the head coach that won you a championship lost his job?
What the heck is he talking about? Like, well, if you don't get promoted every year, is that a failure? I mean, I don't think everybody expects a promotion every year.
Maybe it's a communication thing. Maybe he's just having a hard time articulating exactly what he's saying, because I understand if you want to answer the question the right way, you say, yes, the season was a failure. Yes, we failed to reach our expectations, but we will take what we learned from this failure and we will be better for it next year. If that's what he was trying to say, then I can buy in on Giannis.
I would even accept no, it wasn't a failure, because I'm already looking to next season, and this is where it kind of begins right now, this feeling right now. Yeah. Except you had Dr. Giannis teaching philosophy up there.
And getting angry that the question was even asked. Like, how dare you ask if the season was a failure? What do you mean, how dare he? It's a valid question. And your coach got fired a couple of days after you answered it in that fashion. So maybe Dame is all that you needed. Hey, Dame, Giannis, Middleton, that's impressive. And the Bucks are already now the favorites to win the NBA title next year. All of that is fine and good. I'm out on Giannis. I'm out.
Well, Maybe it's Dame's team. He leaves Portland as their all-time leading scorer, all-time leader in 3 points. He only got Portland to one conference final. I barely even remember that. By the way, Phoenix also involved in this. They gave up DeAndre Ayton. They get 4 pieces here, including Grayson Allen. Remember him?
He's a rat.
Yeah, Yusuf Nurkic, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson. So the big trade today in the NBA. We have Sabres hockey once again tonight, Mike Danger. This is the Hockeyville game, the promotion. It's in some little
who
rink.
cares?
Yeah, it's up in somewhere, nowhere, Ontario tonight. 6:30 on MSG and the NHL Network. Buffalo now 2-0 this preseason. 10 different Sabres found the score sheet in a 4-1 win over Boston. Perhaps the best sign here was Devin Levi, the 21-year-old goalie, stopped all 19 shots he faced in his 2 periods of action against Boston. Brandon Byro making a case to stick up in Buffalo. He has 3 points in 2 games, leading all Buffalo skaters.
All right, very good. Hey, look, the regular season will get here, and we'll be excited for that. I think the preseason in the NHL is much like the preseason in any other league. It's like, okay, good. Get it, work out whatever you got to work out, and be ready to go when the games actually count. We'll be listening.
Yeah, what a world we live in where Mike Danger's Chicago Cubs need help from the White Sox and the Mets. The White Sox did not do their part today, buddy. Sorry, Arizona winning that 3-0.
I don't need the White Sox to do their part. As long as another team can do what they need to do.
And I'm happy.
Come on, you spares. Let's go.
I'm surprised you don't have this on.
Oh, you're right.
In front of friends and family at Citi Field. It's the Mets leading the Marlins 4-0 in the top of the 6th. Yes, they're still playing Mets baseball. They did not cancel the season. So the Marlins are the one team that is chasing the Cubbies right now.
Yeah.
So bear with me one second as we
I'm
go.
a little bit perturbed that the Cubs had a 6-0 lead on the Braves, blew it, lost 7-6 to even be in this predicament. Like they're making me sweat, Gina. They're making me sweat.
As far as the wild card is concerned, Mike Danger, right now the Cubs are clinging by a half game over the Marlins. Arizona now, thanks to the White Sox losing today, Arizona is a game and a half up on the Cubs. So really, it's looking like the Cubs or Marlins for that last spot.
Yeah, and if the Marlins lose, it'll be a full game, but then the Braves and the Cubs play again tonight, and they could lose. They could keep that. At worst, it'd be a half game by the end of tonight for the Cubs, a half game lead.
So yesterday
if the Mets do what they're supposed to do and close out the Marlins.
Yeah, so that's game 1 of the doubleheader, and you can thank me tomorrow.
Oh, there's a doubleheader. Jesus, now that you mentioned that there's a doubleheader, it actually could be where the Cubs are a half game back if they win the second game of the doubleheader and the Cubs lose.
Right.
Gotcha.
Syracuse basketball. So yesterday we had the Nighthawks schedule come out. Syracuse basketball. We already knew the non-conference, but today the ACC schedule came out. And yeah, you're going to have Boston College, Pittsburgh twice, Clemson you get twice, Louisville, North Carolina, NC State. Syracuse has 10 conference games on Saturdays, including 5 at home. That's good. The ACC tournament this year in Washington. New Hampshire is the patsy that'll be coming to the Dome to open the regular season. That'll be Monday, November 6th.
Feels like a win.
Should be. Michigan State today fired football head coach Mel Tucker.
What?
I know. For cause.
What? Was that wrong? Should I not have done that? I tell you, I gotta plead ignorance on this thing, because if anyone had said anything to me at all when I first started here that sort of thing was frowned upon.
Not a joke. What was he fired for cause? What's being alleged?
Well, this is like the sexual misconduct complaint against the school employee named Brenda Tracy, who is the sexual assault awareness speaker. Maybe that's not a good idea there, Mel. Listen to this lawyer talk, and I'm just going to read this verbatim, and you'll understand where this is going, right? For his admitted and undisputed behaviors, which have brought public disrespect, contempt, and ridicule from the university, and constitute a material breach of his agreement and moral turpitude. Where else do you hear turpitude other than in
Lawyers.
a lawyer doc? Yeah,
I'm wondering, like, these are all words that are very serious words, but what? So it's a sexual misconduct complaint, but there's nothing specific in what was the actual? Did I miss the actual complaint? Like what he actually is alleged of doing?
It's out there. I don't want to say
it's salacious and
salacious.
disgusting.
Oh, and by the way, in your contract, you can't be having any sort of relationship with any other coworker. So that's also
so
part
that
of
was
this.
part of
So
what he was trying to do here was to get into a relationship with the sexual assault awareness speaker for Michigan State University.
Yeah, they've got him. So what Michigan State's doing here is they owed him. You know how much they owed him? $79 million on that contract.
Yeah, and now they don't because they fired him for cause.
Or they're going to say, all right, let's settle.
Take some money. Well, is he suing them? He's not, right?
Oh, I'm sure that's coming.
Well, I just feel like it's time for me to get what's due to me for the punitive damages.
I'm not making a joke. These are serious allegations. And
But
when you're
sounds
fired
like
for cause, I always think, all right, you're fired for cause, but you're saving the university. The university probably realized, like, well, this isn't going very well, is it? Let's just kind of look at what's gone on here since we made you this massive offer and paid you all of this money. We're not winning football games, and you're trying to hitting on and you're trying to date the sexual assault awareness speaker. Yeah, you're gone. We'll move on, and we'll take our $79 million with us.
Mel Tucker does sound like a jerky boy name.
I'm not going to do it.
Not Mel. Mel.
No.
No.
I'm going to sue Mel Tucker for cause. For the punitive damages because he was after a practice and I went to ask him if I could take the cleats, the shoes, and then they fell down the stairs and I broke my glasses. Oh.
Finally, today is typically the day when coaches and players talk around the NFL. If you have a Sunday game like they do with the Kansas City Chiefs in New York, typically you talk on the Wednesday. Except today, there's one Chief that did not talk to reporters. That's tight end Travis Kelce.
Right.
Come on, you coward. He did talk on his podcast, simply asking for people to respect the privacy of Taylor Swift.
You know who you could blame for all of this is his brother. It was a week ago that his brother went on Philadelphia Sports Talk Radio and basically lit the fuse. It's 100% true. My brother's dating Travis Kelce. Do you think Jason Kelce is doing that because his brother got over on him on the biggest stage that the Eagles lost to the Chiefs? The Eagles look good. The Chiefs look good. I'm not saying that there's going to be a rematch.
That would be a massive guy code violation. If Travis was dating Taylor and he wanted to keep that on the down low, to have the brother rat it out ahead of time.
It's Jason Kelce. He's a little unhinged. You remember this Jason Kelce clip when they won the Super Bowl.
Everybody wonders why we're so mean. Everybody wonders why the Philadelphia Eagles aren't the nicest fans. If I don't eat breakfast,
He says, if I don't eat breakfast, I'm pissed off.
Why is that
I don't know.
beeped? Yeah.
Dandalorian, I don't know. If I don't eat breakfast, I'm pissed off. So Jason Kelce is a little unhinged. I don't think he cares. Like, you're my brother. That's fine. You beat me in the Super Bowl. That's fine. We're friends. We have a relationship.
It's not even a story until she shows up with Donna Kelce in the box.
Well, that happened on Sunday, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because she's spending time with the mom. Right. I put our clip of us discussing this yesterday on TikTok, and I haven't checked this afternoon. But I've got some angry Swifties that can't understand why we would think that this is all publicity and this is all a PR stunt. That she wouldn't do she wouldn't do Travis Kelce's mom dirty for PR. She wouldn't hang out with Travis Kelce's mom just for PR.
You do know who you're dealing with these Swifties here. Like,
I do.
You cannot say anything negative.
No, I isolated the moment where I was trying to say something positive about her, where I was saying that even if it is fake, she didn't give off the impression that she's not having a good time. Everything that you see her involved in, when it's an event or she's displaying this unbridled enthusiasm and exuberance, and even if it's not real, it comes off as real. And I think that's me paying her a compliment, but people don't hear that as a compliment. How dare you suggest that this isn't real, that she isn't truly authentic 100% of the time? Like, you know how this works, right? She's an alien. She's Thanos. She could snap all of us out of existence. She has that power right now. She is an alien. We can't comprehend what goes on. So Kelce's not talking to the media, and that's fine. Who cares? It really, for me, it's great. Let's just kick back with the popcorn.
Who cares? No, it's great. This is a distraction. Yeah. Invite it in.
Yeah.
And now Mahomes has to worry about, I got to throw Travis Kelce a touchdown.
Yeah, we're on national TV with his girlfriend in the box. Here we go. The Swifties are going to be mad at me if I don't target him enough.
Oh, gosh. Collinsworth Sunday night. Patrick Mahomes. And
Here's
now,
a guy.
Travis Kelce has everything going for him.
Who's going to be who's more enthusiastic? Will it be Chris Collinsworth on Sunday night calling a Chiefs game with Taylor Swift in the box, or Mike Mayock watching Josh Allen on his pro day?
Oh, here it is. Oh, yeah, folks. Oh, come on. We need that one. Is there anybody like it?
If you hear Chris Collinsworth at any point of the broadcast go, there's Taylor Swift.
I talked to our former producer, Nick Coble, today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, that reminds me, he was the one who like, oh, you got to listen to this. He was just watching the NFL Network. Oh my God.
Yeah, Mayock sounds like he's getting off on Josh Allen's pro day.
Or he's taking just a hit, like, oh, I really want to get hot.
Yeah.
Hold it in. Yep. Oh, yeah.
There's Taylor Swift. Oh, yeah, folks. Oh, yeah. Welcome to Sunday Night Football.
I can't wait. Like, someday we're going to be at training camp, and now that Mayock is back in with the media and doing that stuff, can you imagine if he shows up? Mike, will you come on the show? Sure,
Just tell us about Josh Allen's pro day. What do you remember? Because we remember something very specific. Let's get the last call, 866-4326-585, 866-4FAN. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Danger for FanDuel Sportsbook, official partner of 95.7 The Fan. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. Now, if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, no better time to get in on the action than NFL season. The app is easy to use, and you got a wide range of betting options from spreads to player props to over-unders and more. So join me and visit FanDuel.com/Mike, M-I-K-E. Again, FanDuel.com/Mike, and kick off the NFL season with me on FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite
Leader 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
So you're telling me we're getting killed in the comment section here?
Oh, right. Yes. So, welcome back into the Sports Bar. It's last call. Quickly. Yesterday, and look, this is going to become a thing because every time she shows up, it becomes a story. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. Yesterday it was the story of his jersey sales going up to 300% since she showed up at Arrowhead. We talked about it yesterday, and I shared a clip of that video to my TikTok. And you know what? TikTok's not for everybody. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. And so we took the clip from TikTok, and there's a thing where they tell you, like, hey, man, don't read the comment section. And I'm like, you're right. I really shouldn't read the comment section.
No, this is so bad it's good, I think.
First comment, because our whole premise was that, and I was trying to pay her a compliment.
But it was for publicity, basically.
My compliment is, if she is faking it, which I think she might be, but if she is faking it, I give her credit for at least putting on a show that makes it appear like she's having the time of her life. It's an exuberance that I wish I had. I'm jealous, and she can pull it off very easily. One comment, not an act, guys. Sorry, as someone that follows her and football religiously, she would never do someone's mom dirty for PR. Okay.
I don't think we said Mama Kelce.
Did not bring that up. Another one. This is the most disgusting TikTok I've heard about the whole situation. Because she showed up, it has to be fake, right? And another one. Ugh. Why are men? Question mark. That's it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's coming.
Why are men? No, we have to apologize for being men.
I guess. Why are men?
John in Rochester. What's up, John?
That's a man's man right there. What are you doing, you Spartan, you? What's up?
Hey guys, I'm really pumped up. I was a huge fan of Tremaine Edmonds, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But what Bernard did,
he's
Sunday
not.
was unbelievable.
John,
unbelievable.
John, stop. We give you a platform. Listen. I know it's last call. You can't come in here and say Tremaine Edmonds is going to be a Hall of Famer. We can't take you seriously. From that point on, you've lost your credit. Any credibility you have in the sports, the regulars sniff this guy out. They know John from Rochester. Yeah. John from Rochester is a sports talk legend in this town.
He calls in to Jeremy every Buffalo Bills postgame show. John, here's how you redeem yourself with us. You work in master stroke.
Get a master stroke.
Master stroke in. When this game plan is going to be a master stroke by McDermott.
Or if you call him postgame, you call us pregame?
Call us pregame.
Call us pregame.
Yeah.
So what we're looking for is a master stroke drop. John, I want to take you seriously. The regulars want to take you seriously. Some of them don't care one way or the other. But we want to. You can't come in here and say things like Tremaine Edmonds is going to be a Hall of Famer. We all like what Terrell Bernard said, or what Terrell Bernard did and what he's been doing. But let's not start the call with, I like Tremaine Edmonds. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. You don't have to qualify it that way. John. That said, can't wait to see you, John. Next time we're out at Three Heads, we'll buy you one. Get a cold one in your hand, and you can redeem yourself. Drop a master stroke in the pregame show. Appreciate you, John. Tomorrow. Well, it's Thursday. We've got football to talk about. Andy Behrens from Yahoo Fantasy will help you set your fantasy football lineup. And Thad Brown, News 8 Sports, he'll be joining us at 4:25.
Yeah, so lots of Bills talk tomorrow here as the week rolls on.
Zach Gelb Show on the way next. We appreciate you checking out the Sports Bar here on The Fan Rochester.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country.